WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it's 9 o'clock.
We'll hear from President Trump in 12 hours. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Going to Congress to address the nation, a State of the Union speech with a big focus on
everyday Americans who are directly benefiting from his policies and making a few new policy announcements as well to continue tackling the affordability crisis that Joe Biden created.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox the address will also celebrate America's 250th birthday.
He is going to share the stories of great American heroes who exemplify bravery and the spirit of 1776.
New Olympic heroes will also be there tonight. Gold medalists. The U.S. men's hockey team has been invited. Some will go the day after a big homecoming from Italy. Zach Werenski, who set up the gold medal game-winning overtime goal, tells Fox.
It was incredible last night being home, being in front of our fans, seeing everyone in the streets of Miami. You just can't make it up.
More than 36 Democrats and an independent will not attend tonight, boycotting the president's speech in Congress as they keep holding up Homeland Security funding, demanding immigration enforcement reform, calling ICE out of control. The president also may bring up the Iran nuclear threat tonight and Ukraine. Today marks 4 years since Russia invaded, and as the war rages on...
The president of Ukraine says he wants President Trump to see with his own eyes what's happened to his country. Walking alongside a makeshift monument to the fallen, Volodymyr Zelensky invites the president to Kyiv, saying only then can he understand what this war is really about.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Snowplow drivers working overtime in the Northeast as people shovel out from that blizzard.
Over in Rhode Island, they had 37.9 inches of snow reported. That broke their longest standing record, making this the greatest snowstorm in Providence's history.
Fox Weather's Brandy Kim. A lot of people still have no electricity or heat. More than 350,000 power outages. Airlines still catching up. More than 2,000 flights canceled today. America's listening to Fox News.
Alert. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
When you might be seeing snow again. Mostly cloudy and 22 degrees in downtown Indy, but it feels like 15. I'm John Herrick. This report is brought to you by Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 9:02. The day to watch out for snow this week throughout Indiana is Thursday, says Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
And not a ton of moisture with this. I'm not a huge player, but sometimes it's all about the timing. And so with some snow flying around Thursday morning, you may want to just consider a few extra minutes just in case for a few slick spots Thursday morning.
He believes the precipitation will start moving in Wednesday night and then pick up Thursday. More on your forecast in a moment. A bill that could result in Northeast Indiana getting a casino is up for a final vote today. The state Senate approved that final version of the bill on Monday and added an amendment that would allow a casino to be replaced but not necessarily relocated to the northeast portion of the state. If you need to get gas today, AAA says the Indiana gas average is $2.77 a gallon. That's 9 cents higher than this time Monday. State police looking into a crash involving a Marshall County deputy's vehicle Monday. Jake McDaniel with that story.
Deputy Matthew Brown was already out on US 31 near 13th Road, helping with a crash when things took a turn.
A van that was being driven northbound lost control because driving too fast for the road conditions and sideswiped his vehicle.
State Police Sergeant Ted Bonner says lake effect snow made roads slick. Brown was inside his vehicle when it happened, but he's doing okay and was later released from a hospital. The other driver, Carlos Flores Hernandez, wasn't hurt, but he ended up getting arrested for driving without a license. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Ryan Carr was named the executive director of Indiana Hoosier men's basketball on Monday. If Carr's name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because he has more than 2 decades of NBA front office experience with the Indiana Pacers, where he rose from a regional scout to senior vice president of player personnel. The university says Carr will focus on roster building and will report directly to IU head men's basketball coach Darren DeVries and assist with other areas of the program as well. Indiana plays Northwestern this evening at 7. Pre-game coverage starts at 6 right here on 93 WIBC. With a look at traffic now, here's Matt Baer.
All right, John, northbound 65 south side, stop and go traffic after Keystone Avenue into the south split. That is a construction zone and a delay of 5 minutes. Inbound 65 slows at MLK to 21st Street. Traffic sponsored by Staples. Staples has hot deals at low prices on everything for your business, like up to $125 off your print order. Ends April 18th. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. I'm Matt Bear on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters. Over 3 decades of restoring your home or business to better than new condition. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine by getting your nose and throat working with our unique Advent approach that you won't find elsewhere.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy, chilly, breezy as we head through the afternoon hours. Today's high 41, mostly cloudy skies, quiet tonight, a low down to 32. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm John Herrick. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong.
Yeah, so that was January 31st, 2018. Mike Pence sat right behind him, Paul Ryan on the other side. State of the Union has become a stage for messaging, not just policy reporting. Trump said this year's it's going to be long.
Yeah, I started to sweat a little bit. I had one of the news channels on last night, and Trump was up there talking about something and came out with that line. Yes, going to be giving a very great speech, and it'll be a long one tomorrow night is what he said. And just so you know, Trump's State of the Union speeches usually run about 60 to 90 minutes. That's a normal State of the Union speech.
What is
for Trump.
long?
So when he drops this is going to be a long one on you tonight, we got to buckle up and plan on it's going to be a 2-hour speech tonight.
You think so?
I think that's the over-under. If I was putting this on DraftKings, I would put the over-under right at 2 hours on the button. You're going to have to prepare yourself. You're gonna you go to the bathroom first. You're going to want to get your drinks lined up.
Get
some
your snacks ready.
Going. Maybe take a nap this afternoon sometime because we could be up until midnight watching Trump's State of the Union speech.
Well, you could. I'm not going to do that. The 26th State of the Union address scheduled for tonight, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
I don't even work here. What are you talking about? I'm just filling in. All of a sudden, I'm the one that's got to stay. Fine.
Yes.
If that's what I've got to do,
that's how it works.
That's what I've got to do.
That's how it works. So it's going to be before the joint session of the 119th U.S. Congress in the House chamber, the first State of the Union of Trump's second term, technically his fourth State of the Union address overall. Of course, it comes amid some high polarization in Washington. We're going to talk a bit more about that coming up. Also, Americans getting stuck in Mexico left and right. No information, no timeline. Airports are closed, and yet they're still taking selfies.
Well, I'm trapped in Mexico. And what is this? Like, filter. I didn't even select one. But anyway, I was here for a makeup retreat, and apparently there's a bunch of crap going down in Puerto Vallarta, so the roads are barricaded, they're closed. We are here until we're not here, so just thought I'd keep you posted on TikTok. So, is anyone else stranded in Puerto Vallarta like I am?
I don't think she's saying it properly, but nothing like, oh, there's cartels bombing things next to me. Hey, I didn't choose this filter.
Hey, guys.
I look good.
Stuck in Mexico still. Not sure why. By the way, also, did you notice the reason why she's there?
A makeup conference.
A makeup conference. I didn't even know those existed. Apparently, like L'Oreal and Maybelline are put conferences together.
Well, when you're next to an international terrorist organization, what's your biggest concern? looking good.
Mascara.
Yeah, apparently. We're also going to hear from John Mellencamp. He talks about how he has met Donald Trump numerous times.
And people were coming and asking me for my autograph because I was sitting in the audience, on the benches. And next to me was this guy and his wife, and they would then ask him for his. And I looked at him and go, I don't mean to sound stupid, but maybe I am, but why are people asking you for your autograph? And he goes, well, I'm Donald Trump. And I go, yeah. So what does that mean? He goes, well, I'm a big builder in New York. I go, well, I'm not from New York, so how the I know. But he bought me popcorn. He bought me Cokes. He couldn't have been nicer.
Right.
Right.
And it sounds like John Mellencamp might have been a little bit of a jerk during that process telling the story here. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't live in New York. Why would I know that? He sounded a little salty at the beginning
Are
of that.
you kidding me? Even in the 80s and 90s, everybody knew who Donald Trump was.
Well, apparently John Mellencamp didn't know who Donald Trump.
Back to the State of the Union address. It's happening tonight. Some of the main themes that are expected to be covered by Donald Trump: the economy and jobs. He's going to highlight job growth, manufacturing investment, promoting tax policy and deregulation efforts. The big, beautiful bill, right? How much you want to bet he's going to frame the economy as rebounding strongly under his leadership?
Oh, I'll take it a step farther than that. I'll bet
You're going to guarantee it?
I'll bet that Trump says it's the greatest economy ever. No president has led a nation with an economy like this.
He did say he won affordability. I'm guessing he's also going to talk about immigration and border security. He's going to emphasize all his successes at the border. Will he call for expanded deportation and additional border funding? Probably. Energy and America First policies. It's going to push for expanded domestic oil and gas production.
Look, all of those things sound wonderful and great, and I'm sure it'll be, in a lot of ways, a typical State of the Union speech, and in a lot of ways it'll be a typical Donald Trump State of the Union speech. He'll use a lot of hyperbole, talk about how various aspects, like the economy, it's the greatest of all time. He'll call himself the greatest president of all time. We've never had so much peace. What he really needs to do, and I don't believe for 1 second Donald Trump is going to do this, but what he really needs to do is kind of highlight the things that he has truly done well, that, even Democrats could agree, okay, yes, this was done and accomplished at this degree and at this level. Shut down the border. Southern border. Absolutely. Nobody can argue with the fact that that is a major change. And by the way, that's an 80-20 issue. 80% of the country wants a lockdown southern border. Great. Win there. Be honest about it. And then number two, he's going to talk about deportations. And yeah, we've had some good deportations. And then he's going to talk about his foreign policy. And he'll talk a little bit about how, we stood with Israel and we're tough on Iran last year, and how we, took out that narco-terrorist Maduro in Venezuela. Wonderful. Have there been any other real, true, honest accomplishments, serious accomplishments in his first year beyond those?
Well, I think he will talk about foreign policy. He's going to address global conflicts and reaffirm a strong national defense stance. But maybe he shouldn't be doing that, because according to a new poll that was conducted by SSRS, foreign policy is the least thing people want to hear about. Only 2% of people say they want to hear about that. Followed by crime and safety at 3%. Healthcare is 7%, which surprises me. The state of U.S. democracy, only 11% of people want to hear about that. Immigration, 13%. The top concern of everyone. 57% of people want to hear him talk about this. You know it. It's the economy and the cost of living.
Yeah, and to be fair, I did miss one big victory that Donald Trump has had, and you mentioned it there, and that's crime. Because we've had the data that shows that, and again, it's preliminary data from 2025.
With the border security.
It does go with the border security, but he needs to talk about those, because that's an absolute win. And shockingly, Trump and his team are really not talking about the massive decrease in violent crime. And we've talked about the data here on this show. The murder rate in this country right now, and again, it's preliminary data from 2025, but it's looking spectacular. The murder rate in this country, the lowest of all time. I mean, all the way back to 1900, 125 years ago. That's a major accomplishment. Violent crime across the board is down everywhere. And he can sit here and say, yes, number one, that's border security. Number two, it's because I've been deploying the National Guard to the most violent cities around the country. Okay, great, wonderful wins. Definitely talk about those. But the man's going to talk for 2 hours.
He's going to talk about a lot.
You know, he's going to talk about plenty of other stuff. But what you just said, the most important issue, was that 57%?
57% economy, cost of living.
That's the most important thing. And by the way, second place was like 13%. Mm-hmm. So there's one issue on everybody's mind tonight, and Donald Trump has not solved it. The economy is essentially in about the same shape as it was under the last 4 years with Joe Biden, for the most part, or certainly the last year or two under Joe Biden. And that's everybody's biggest concern. And for him, he's got to roll out some sort of a real plan and specific initiatives that he wants to take that he will explain and talk about how that is going to make life more affordable for Americans.
So Representative Miller Meeks, she's from Iowa, Republican. She says the State of the Union address will be about energy.
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to say unleashing American energy dominance. So American energy dominance, homegrown American energy, bringing fuel costs down. So if you recall, gasoline prices went in Iowa almost as high as $5 a gallon in 2022. Now I can find gasoline for $2.09. Actually, it was even less expensive than that. And if you recall, about 60% of food costs are energy costs. So bringing down the price of energy is also helping to bring down food cost as well. So I think American energy dominance, homegrown American energy, very important. As we know, that was something for 50 years the United States had been trying to do.
So you might recall back in December, Donald Trump said the word affordability was a con job by Democrats. No, it's what everybody wants, and he needs to come right out of the gate with that.
And it's interesting, and she went into this a little bit in that clip we just heard right there. And okay, if Donald Trump wants to talk about energy tonight, that's great, wonderful, but you have to connect the dots for the average American. Great. Oil's cheaper, or we're going to get more energy, or we're going to produce nuclear, or drill, baby, drill, whatever. And she goes into it a little bit about there. What does that mean for me, the average everyday American? Mm-hmm. Okay, my utility bills will go down. Wonderful. Great. I'd like to hear it. Off to a good start. Because everything in our country is shipped on a truck using diesel fuel, the more oil we have available, the more we refine. That'll bring gas prices down. All right, now we're talking. These are real, honest things that affect me day to day. So Donald Trump, if he's like she mentioned, if he's going to put the focus on energy, that's great, but he's got to connect those dots and bring it back to how that's going to lower prices for average everyday Americans.
So there are dozens of Democrats who plan to skip the State of Union address, and we'll talk about that coming up. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Russia has been waging war in Ukraine for 4 years now.
93 WIBC.
Ukraine's casualties thought to be at least 500,000 dead and injured.
What happens next?
Trump's State of the Union address to Congress and the nation
happens here.
Expect him to address the economy, trade and tariffs, and immigration.
Stay in the know.
And the looming threat of potential military action against Iran.
While you're on the go.
Tightening the rules for people who drive big trucks in Indiana.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
Window Nation, WindowsNation.com. Window Nation was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies, so you can trust Window Nation for high quality, affordable windows. That's what I did. They were in and out of my house within a day, replaced the whole front of my house with brand new windows, saving a ton on energy bills, keeping the cold air out and the warm air in with Window Nation and WindowNation.com.
Schedule your fast and free estimate right now with Window Nation. Go to their website, WindowNation.com. Shop around, find what you like, but take advantage of this deal. Buy 4, get 4 windows for free, and get an extra 10% off. And again, a fast and free estimate is available at WindowNation.com. But to get the deal, you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
It's Teacher Appreciation Night Thursday at Cambridge Fieldhouse.
Left sideline McConnell, strong drive up and under, finishing with the right hand.
Catch your Pacers against the Charlotte Hornets Thursday night at 7.
Left edge, catch and shoot. That is a huge three from Quentin Jackson.
Grab your teacher promo tickets at pacers.com/tickets. That's pacers.com/tickets.
Rebounded by Jackson, shot clock to 3. Nembhard from the right edge, beat the shot clock and hit a 3.
Pacers Hornets Thursday at 7.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
My grades were bad. I would get D's and C's.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of. It got worse and worse and worse throughout the years.
There are students who need somebody.
They can trust someone, and it could be the first person they've ever trusted in their life.
Communities in Schools is lowering America's dropout rate by helping more than 1.3 million kids every year get whatever they need to succeed in school.
If something was going on at home, we would go just stop by Miss Liberty's office and talk to her.
Communities in Schools vouched for me when everyone else had lost hope.
You can help change the picture of education right here in your community and across the nation. Visit communitiesInschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
For 22 years, Exercise Inc. has helped Hoosiers build muscle, lose weight, and transform their health, creating lifelong habits. Only takes 20 minutes once a week. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Hopefully he can explain why he was only able to produce fewer jobs in all of 2025 than President Biden produced in an average month. We'll hear what he's doing about health care, because people are losing their health care insurance right and left. We'll see what he has to say about tariffs, which are ruining the economy. But we'll also hear from Abigail Spanberger, the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, who will be giving the Democratic response. And I'm sure she'll make Virginia proud.
Wow, that was Bobby Scott of Virginia. He's a Democrat, talking about all the things that he wants to hear about in the State of the Union address tonight. So there are dozens of Democrats that plan to skip Trump's State of the Union, the party trying to decide on their rival programming. Apparently, Abigail Spanberger is giving the opposition. They don't know how to behave in public anyway, so I don't have any issue with them not being there. They'll do something ridiculous like hold up signs, or they're all going to wear white, I believe, this time, the ones that do show up.
Look, the Democrats make themselves look silly. And they make themselves look like an unserious party when they do things like this. Let's remember back to last year's address to Congress that Trump had. There was a special moment there where there was a little boy in the audience, and Trump highlighted him and told his story and talked about this little boy and how he had cancer and how he just wanted to grow up to be a policeman in this country. Classic American story, and the Democrats booed at that point in time. This little kid, they came across looking like idiots. Look, the Republicans look like idiots plenty of times at these State of the Union speeches. I remember Marjorie Taylor Greene shouting out from the crowd when Joe Biden was giving his State of the Union address. She looked like an idiot. There are plenty of opportunities for you to get your message out. You don't need to boycott or hold up signs or all wear white. You come across just looking silly and unserious. And if half of that chamber is empty because Democrats don't don't show up tonight, they're going to look silly. And they're going to give Donald Trump just more fuel. He'll be able to talk about how they're unserious, how they're not showing up for work. Donald Trump's there. He's showing up. He's doing the work, but the Democrats are off sipping tea in their offices somewhere.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. If they, like in the private sector, if you refuse to show up for your job or refuse to join meetings or gatherings, what happens? Well, eventually you get fired or replaced. So why can't we do that in Congress? It's disrespectful to the American people who they are supposed to represent. And now the seats are going to be filled with the U.S. men's hockey team.
Yeah, but look, better for that, and I can't wait to see the men's hockey team there tonight, and that's going to be a great and fantastic moment. But we just heard that clip from that gentleman, that Democrat in Virginia, that talked about the things that he wanted for Donald Trump to say tonight. If Democrats would just do that, exactly what he said. He talked about jobs, and we know it's not really about jobs. It's about how much the jobs pay. We'll get into that later. He talked about jobs. He talked about healthcare costs. He talked about affordability. That is normal, sane, reasonable information that the rest of the American people agree with. We started off the show. You talked about 57% of the people, they're by a long shot. The only thing they want Donald Trump to talk about tonight is affordability.
Economy, cost of living.
And that audio we just heard there from that Democrat in Virginia, that's all he talked about. He talked about employment, and he talked about affordability in this country. But you know what the Democrats are going to do instead? They're going to boycott, and they're not going to show up, and they're going to look like the crazies. And I'm sure Spanberger's counter, or what do they call it? The opposition after Donald Trump's, she's going to go into a bunch of crazy stuff. It is these things that make the Democrats look completely unappealing and somebody that an average person can't vote for. Abortion right up until the moment of delivery. Boys being girls. Boys and girls sports. Boys and girls locker rooms. These, wide open borders and wanting to just let illegal immigrants stay in this country. Those are all 80-20 issues in favor of the Republicans, and it's those things, and it's the silly boycott and walkout tonight that make the Democrat Party seem unserious, and an average person's just like, look, I don't agree with everything Trump says, and I think he's crazy and says stuff I don't agree with all the time, but I'm not voting for crazy.
Right, that's unhinged. I can't do that.
I'm not tying myself to those crazy Democrats. They're off the deep end. Trump makes me uncomfortable, and I wish he wouldn't do some of those things, but the Democrats are so far gone, I can't even address them.
Here's John Fetterman. He's got a message to Democrats that are attending and what he wants them to do.
And I do plan to go to the State of the Union. And then I do hope all the other Democrats that choose to come, that we don't do the same kinds of things that happened at the last year. I mean, it was really undignified. And just the thing, no, I don't care who the president is. Don't yell and disrupt that. It's like you really should respect the office. You don't have to like the occupant, but respect that. And that's, we should be better than that. So for me, as a Democrat, it's just calling balls and strikes, and I'm always going to pick country over party.
He said undignified. That's kind of kind. Humiliating is more like it. Some of the ridiculous things they do. And it's almost like we need to update basic requirements to run for office and revisit consequences for failing to perform your elected duties. When you don't even show up, that isn't leading. That's not a body of officials who work for the American people. It's like they're doing everything for social media. The TikTok politician.
Absolutely. Look, liberals and Democrats, the one thing they love more than anything, they love this more than spending your tax dollars. They love it more than abortion. They love it more than anything. And that is virtue signaling. It's
performative.
It is the core of being a liberal today is virtue signaling. I'm going to put pronouns in my bio, and I'm going to put flags in place of my avatar on my Twitter and Facebook profile, and I'm going to tell you about how I have white privilege, and it's the oppressed versus the oppressor. And walking out tonight or boycotting this event, it is nothing but virtue signaling. But the bad part for the Democrats, and this is really terrible for for any sort of political party, what it makes the Democrats look like is it makes them look weak. not even showing up. It makes them look weak, and that is the one thing that you absolutely cannot do as a politician and as a political party.
So we've got a lot of American tourists in Mexico, and they seem to not be taking things seriously. We'll talk about it coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
It's just alcohol. Everybody drinks. You may have already heard this statement from your teen. I'm Tammy Silverman with Indiana Youth Institute. Alcohol is the substance most commonly abused by teens. Survey data shows that 2 in 10 Indiana high school students reported drinking in the past month, and more than half of Hoosier teens say it would be easy to get alcohol. How do you talk with your teen about alcohol use, especially if they see peers or adults drinking? First, understand that your child may point out contradictions in our society's views on alcohol. It's okay to acknowledge those facts. Talk with your teen about the many risks of alcohol use. During your conversation, you can both validate their views and uphold your family values. You are the first line of defense against alcohol abuse, so don't be afraid to talk to your teen. What you say has a big influence on their decision to drink or not. This Kids Count Minute is a message from Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids count on you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When to watch out for more snowfall. Right now it is mostly cloudy, 23 degrees in the Circle City. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 9:30. More snow supposed to arrive in Indiana starting tomorrow night into Thursday, but Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey says there's also other weather factors to consider.
We're gaining more, daylight. That's one positive as we get deeper now into early spring as we move into March. Our average temperatures gradually get up as well. Typically this time of year, while we do average snowfall in March, they usually aren't as intense.
He doesn't expect any heavy snow with this, but he believes it'll be enough to might make travel a little difficult for you. Certainly won't be anything like the snow that's been hammering the Northeast, causing air travel delays and cancellations.
Another day here at the airport with lots of delays and lots of cancellations. Just at the New York City area airports, all 3 of them, we're talking nearly half of all flights have been canceled, and it's going to continue. Just since Sunday, more than 11,000 flights have been canceled through today.
That's Fox's Alexis McAdams at Newark Liberty International Airport in Newark, New Jersey. And the gold medal winning men's U.S. hockey team will be attending President Trump's State of the Union address this evening in Washington, D.C. The team arrived back in the U.S. on Monday from Italy after defeating Canada to win the gold medal at the Winter Games on Sunday. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC. So far, a good start on Wall Street. The Dow is up 61 points to 48,910. The S&P 500 is up about a point to 6852, and the NASDAQ is up 75 points to 24,838. I'm John Herrick. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Custom jewelry is not out of reach with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. At PA Jewelers, you can customize any piece of jewelry for that special someone. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg. Gold, diamonds, gemstones, and of course those watches from Flederman Von Riest, assembled right here in Indiana. Custom design jewelry with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Custom jewelry made just for you. PA Jewelers, 3750 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-456-4010. PAJewelers.jewelry.
Friday, right around 5:50 for Beer Sample Friday.
Brought to you by Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, home of free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
Hi, this is Chris Cox, owner of Chimney Solutions Indiana. We're celebrating our 10th year in business. Call this month to take advantage of 10% off all chimney sweeps and inspections. We're also celebrating the opening of our new fireplace showroom on 86th Street and Lafayette Road. Come and experience our exclusive lines of wood-burning and gas fireplaces.
Call 317-557-6979 or chimneyindy.com.
Show your home some love with Zero Res. 3 rooms of cleaning starting at $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. Book now at ZeroResIndy.com.
As you know, I had my garage floor coated with Galaxy concrete coatings a while back, and like anyone, I did some homework before I said, let's do this. Here are some things that I found out. First, Galaxy concrete coatings is local and ready to give you in all of Indianapolis a transformation. Next, Galaxy concrete coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it's designed to not only work in your garage, but they can also use it on driveways, walkways, around your pool or patio. With it being UV resistant, it will not yellow. Oh, and it's ready to go in 24 hours, so you can drive, walk, run, dance, splash on it right away. Now for my fun part. I got you 15% off. Just tell them when you call 317-343-0879 you want the Casey deal. You got to tell them the Casey deal for 15% off. And check out their site at galaxyconcretecoatings.com. They are truly out of this world.
Community Health Network cares for your heart health. From heart scans and vascular screenings to complex heart procedures, you can count on our expert team for the highest quality cardiovascular care, when and where you need it. Your path to a healthy heart starts with knowing your risk. Schedule a heart scan or vascular screening today. Visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care. Simply delivered.
Pella provides window and door replacement with products you can trust. For a limited time, call 833-87-PELLA or visit PellaIndy.com/radio and get 22% off Pella products. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
She said she was fine, but I noticed she stopped using the front steps. And another time, she grabbed the wall instead of the railing. It's little clues like these that often show up before a fall ever happens. This is Tina McIntosh, founder of Joy's House and co-host of Caregiver Crossing. Falls are the leading cause of injury for older adults, but there are simple ways to lower that risk. Stay tuned.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
One of the easiest checks starts with shoes. If they're worn down or they're slippery, they need to be replaced. Another is lighting. Shadows in hallways and dim corners at night can be dangerous, but even a small night light can make a big difference. Rearranging furniture to clear walking paths and tightening loose railings, those are also quick things that help prevent falls. Paying attention to these details not only keeps someone safer, it helps them hold on to their independence longer. More caregiving tips and resources are available anytime at joyshouse.org, with new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana.
My daughter and I are in Guadalajara. We are safe from the narcos blockade. The cartel has kind of shut down the whole city. It's been an interesting day. When we first went downstairs and it was first happening, my daughter and I saw nobody on the street, and somebody said that the owner of the Airbnb said that we should, stay put, but we're not good rule followers. So we were starving and we went and walked to find this restaurant. Nobody's on the street, except we did pass this one couple who had some food, and we asked them where they got it. We get to the restaurant. They said we had to come inside. They were closing the restaurant, but they'd make us some food to go. And my daughter decides it's a great opportunity to do a photo shoot. So I'll share some of those.
More concerned about sharing some photos, the photo dump in Mexico, than their personal safety. We're not good rule followers. Guess what, lady? That's going to get you killed. American tourists in Mexico not taking this seriously enough. They truly have no idea how dangerous it is and how dangerous and violent those cartels can be. The people doing this in Mexico today are the same people that ICE agents are trying to deport from the United States.
Yeah, Trump, in tonight's State of the Union speech, if Trump wants to get an easy win, he should be talking about what's going on with the cartels in Mexico, because he can sit and say exactly what you said. Look, that's the reason why I made shutting down the southern border the primary part of my campaign.
They built a wall!
Yeah, exactly. This proves Trump's point. Exactly. He talked about the cartels during the campaign in 2024. He talked about shutting down the southern border. He talked about deporting illegal immigrants. These are all the things Trump, if he is thinking straight tonight, he'll make this a core centerpiece, because it just proved the point. What he's been talking about for 2 years was just proven in an ultra-violent fashion this week in Puerto Vallarta.
You can get a cheap flight and you can book a beach resort vacation. That sounds awesome. But when you wind up stuck in an advisory zone or dealing with canceled flights, guess what? That's more stress than an actual vacation. You have to plan responsibly. So many people like, is it okay to come down there now? No, it's not. Don't be ridiculous. There are so many beautiful places in the United States you could go to and be safe instead.
Give me one example. Come on. Those beaches in Mexico are
how
beautiful.
How about Siesta Key in Florida?
Oh yeah. No,
how about Anna Maria Island?
Yeah, that beautiful beach is
How
there.
about Myrtle Beach? How about Wilmington, North Carolina?
How about South Padre in Texas?
How about
San
Southern
Diego?
California? San Diego, exactly. I mean, you could go to so many different places and not put your life at risk.
Yeah, and look, this isn't about us being scared to travel. Look, you and I, we've been to Europe, we've been to Mexico, we've traveled internationally.
I'm not going to Mexico anytime
soon.
soon.
But you make a great point here. Our country is so big and so vast, and you can get whatever you want. You can go skiing, or you can go on the beach, or you can hike in the Rocky Mountains, or you can fly out to Hawaii. There's tons of places that are amazing and have either incredible adventures or relaxing vacations right here in the United States. And what we're seeing, and I do feel bad for the Americans, the normal Americans that are stuck down there, because most of what we're seeing on social media right now are like the two clips that we've played here so far this morning. Americans not taking it seriously and more concerned about their social media posts in association with being in Mexico than the violence that's taking place there. And here's the key. I saw a really good video last night, a woman who has studied the cartels for decades, and she talked about, okay, now what can we expect next? So what usually happens when you've got these leaders of a cartel that are either taken out or arrested, what happens is there's a massive power vacuum, and infighting occurs. So not only will you see other cartels use this as an opportunity to now attack this Jalisco cartel that's essentially been decapitated from a leadership perspective, but you will see the
lieutenants,
the lieutenants in the Jalisco cartel now, and this woman said there's about 4 or 5 of them that are really strong. Now they're going to be the ones battling for power. So each of those lieutenants have people within their organization that are loyal to them. And beyond that, each of those lieutenants, this isn't just about cartel stuff, because the cartel's involved in every single aspect of society in Mexico. So there are friendly politicians and friendly businesses and friendly organizations, all with each of these lieutenants. So what she said is what you usually see is what we saw a couple of days ago. You see an initial outburst of violence, then you see a period like we're in right now where it seems like things are settling down. But then after a certain period of time, things get even more violent as that struggle to take power takes place. So fingers crossed.
It's the reorg. It's the restructure of who's in power.
And fingers crossed that we don't see that, but the pattern keeps repeating itself whenever we see one of these cartel leaders taken out. And the pattern, if it holds true, what we've got going forward is a significant amount of violence as that power struggle continues.
Well, you had mentioned friendly businesses, and that's the thing. People go down to these resorts and they think, oh, okay, I'm safe here. This is a resort. It's inclusive. No, guess who is running that? Guess who is getting their payment to make sure things don't happen there? The cartels.
Yeah, you don't think those they're not employees of those all-inclusive secure resorts that aren't friendly or at least being paid off directly by the cartel? I'd say the vast majority of them are. The taxi cab drivers, the bartenders, the people who work at the restaurants. The cartel is involved in every single aspect of Mexican society.
So Senator Ted Cruz, he warned that Mexican officials that Donald Trump was serious about taking action if Mexico didn't do more to fight the cartels. Cruz said that Trump is prepared to act aggressively to stop the violence and the drug trafficking that affects the United States. Here you've got the former acting DEA administrator, Derek Maltz, and he's saying, you know what? You wouldn't take a vacation to Afghanistan, would you?
President Trump, before he got elected, said placing the safety and security of Americans would be the top priority, and he's a man of action. So to answer your question about the Americans, no, it's very dangerous in Mexico. It's been dangerous there for many years. Right now, this is a wake-up call for the world about the treachery of the Mexican cartels. That's why President Trump declared them as terrorists. Would the Americans want to go visit, the middle of Al-Qaeda Central, right? So right now, what we're witnessing, especially on social media, it highlights the level of control and power the cartels have in Mexico. They're blowing up buses. They're shutting down roads. There's blockades in up to 20 states. They're burning buildings, right? So, yeah, it's very dangerous.
Right now, it's not even soft diplomacy. It's firm enforcement. That's what Donald Trump is doing. He got Mexico to hand over 92 different cartel suspects to the United States, including some major figures that are connected to these powerful drug gangs. And this all coming with strong pressure from the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, so Mexican's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, she was just elected recently, and there have been plenty of reports out there that she has been very friendly with the cartels. We just talked about it. The cartels are interwoven into Mexican society. It's interwoven into the Mexican government. And she came out and said that, look, she has no interest in fighting the cartels when she was elected just a year or two ago. No interest in fighting the cartels. So something that Donald Trump said clearly changed her mind. And it's the level of uncertainty going forward. We've really never seen, or it's been a while since we've seen this level of conflict between the Mexican federal government and the cartels. We know that the Mexican president, Sheinbaum, did not want to do this. Obviously, Trump has exerted some leverage over her to get her to do this. And there is an incredible amount of uncertainty as to what's going to be next.
Trump got the brother of El Mencho as well. The U.S. Justice Department says that the suspects are now being prosecuted in many states. They're facing charges from drug to human trafficking to murder and even money laundering. And they're claiming that it's all part of a broader strategy to crack down on the cartels labeled as a terrorist group. CNN did an interview back in September with a Mexican cartel leader, and they asked him what they thought of Donald Trump, and listen to this answer.
Think what President Trump has been doing has been making your job tougher?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
But it's becoming more difficult, you think?
Yeah. It's becoming more difficult because he closed the border.
Of course, and that was part of it. He closed down the border, stopped the flow of illegal drugs, illegal aliens coming to this country, human trafficking. All of that has come to a grinding halt, and that's where the cartels get the vast majority of their money. The cartels aren't selling drugs and human trafficking within Mexico. No, they're doing that. They're sending that all north of the border to the United States. So absolutely, these cartels are not only, obviously, in conflict with the Mexican government, but their financial situation has been damaged significantly since Trump's been in office and shut down that border.
This lady, she's giving an update from Puerto Vallarta. I believe she runs an Airbnb, and listen to her update. It's bananas.
Okay, so yes, I just got up to my room. My phone's about dead, and the last thing I'm going to be is stranded in Mexico without a charged phone. So, I was kind of hanging out on the beach, and business as usual. On our way up, we noticed everything kind of dark. So all the restaurants are closed. They said buffet or room service only. So it's not business as usual anymore. And I just went to do room service. And I feel like I'm back in my room fairly early for those to realize that's all you can do. And it said no availability. So it looks like the only food is the buffet. And all the bars and restaurants are closed, which kind of feels a little eerie. Feels a little weird.
You think so? I'm surprised at how relaxed and nonchalant these people are. I mean, I might be a little worried.
The bars and restaurants are closed, and that feels a little eerie. And if I look outside my balcony, I see
buildings on fire.
Buildings on fire. The entire city is burning here. There are plumes of smoke everywhere. And by the way, the cartel have instituted a blockade so nobody can get in and out of this resort towns. But you know what's really eerie?
Restaurants.
Bars and restaurants being closed. And did she think that people would feel sorry for her because the only food available was the buffet? Like that, she was trying to garner sympathy. The entire reason she was making this social media post.
I have to go to the buffet. I hope they have the cough guard up.
The entire reason for the social media post was to garner sympathy. And you come across looking like a spoiled, rich, arrogant ass in front of everybody. So not only, again, back to what I said before, not only do you feel this way, But you posted about it on social media.
Well, wait till she finds out that the people that work at the hotel also work for Cartel and can easily make her disappear. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Tomorrow on Tony Katz in the Morning News, getting ready for the State of the Union. What are the subjects Trump is going to hit? 6 to 9 a.m., Tony Katz in the Morning News, right here on 93 WIBC.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
A house or business fire is something you never want to think of. But should it happen, think fast. Think Michaelis. Over 35 years of rebuilding lives and spirits at the same time. No one comes more respected or as fast. Trust the ones the insurance companies trust. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Have you been dreaming of kitchen updates since the new year began? My friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling want you to love your plumbing. Update your faucets, fixtures, water heaters, and more with $100 off a $500 plus plumbing service. Make your remodel dreams or small home update wishes come true and start to love your plumbing again. Call and schedule an appointment today at 317-641-HOPE or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
Your heat seems to be running a lot more than it should. You might be surprised to learn it's because the insulation in your windows has failed. Talk to the pros at Window Nation and get new windows with big savings during Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale. Plus, you could get them 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. If you act now, you'll get an extra 10% off. When your window insulation fails, usually due to old or cheap materials, all of your window energy efficiency disappears. The results? A house that is cold in the winter and hot in the summer.
Window Nation's windows use top quality materials and seals, along with insulated frames. They're so incredibly energy efficient that you'll actually save money on your utility bills. And they're backed with a lifetime warranty, so you don't have to live with broken windows anymore. Don't wait. Put an end to your window problems. Take advantage of Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 for free sale. And get an extra 10% off. Visit windownation.com for a free consultation.
Great Lakes Honda of Fishers is heating things up with red hot deals during Pay What We Pay invoice pricing going on now. Come into Great Lakes Honda and get invoice pricing without the gimmicks, like a new Honda Odyssey EXL for under $42,000 with a finance special of 3.99% APR for 48 months or 4.99% APR for 60 months. So come in out of the cold for red hot prices at Great Lakes Honda of Fishers. Tax not included. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. All fees and first payment due at signing. Offer ends March 31st. See dealer for details.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
Join WIBC February 28th at the Hyatt Regency at 6 p.m. for a night of flair and reflection with Tony Katz. VIP and general admission tickets are on sale now. Act fast. Get all the details at WIBC.com. Brought to you by Defiance Beef Company, Chimney Solutions, and Premier Arms.
So this is going to be more about legacy than it is competition. Both men have already proved that they're pretty good in the ring. So this is more of a nostalgia payday than anything else. It's not a who's best showdown, because if they really wanted to prove who was best, they would have done it a long time ago when they were in their prime.
Yeah, I think the most important word that you just said was payday.
Well, I thought you were going to say
this is about.
Nostalgia.
No,
payday. We're talking about this boxing match that has been announced between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Two of the greatest icons in boxing, right? They're going to meet again in their first ever professional boxing match. It's going to be at the Sphere in Las Vegas coming up in September.
Yeah, this is all about a payday. Look, Pacquiao's 47 years old. Floyd Mayweather's 49 years old. This is a gimmick. And look, I'm embarrassed by it, but I'll be honest with you. I'm here for it. I love a big fight. I used to love
an event.
I love boxing back in the day. I grew up buying all of the Mike Tyson fights on pay-per-view, and even if they were 90 seconds long, I loved every single bit of it. Look, go back in history. The Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. Remember that one? Bought that one on pay-per-view. The Conor McGregor, who's a UFC guy, but years ago fought Floyd Mayweather. Bought that one. I'll be first in line. I'm going to watch this Manny Pacquiao-Floyd Mayweather fight, even though it is a total joke. It's a total gimmick, and they're only doing it for the payday.
Yeah, maybe fun to watch, but it is definitely more about boxing's business side than it is the actual boxing.
And it's unfortunate because that's the state of boxing today. The only way to get attention is by these gimmick fights, and that's exactly what we've got here in Pacquiao versus Mayweather.
Indiana's Governor Mike Braun got some new polling data. It didn't look so good for him. We'll talk about it coming up from 93 WIBC.
Chase away those winter blues with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln. Hurry in for the 8, 9, 10 deal from Tom Roush. Get $8,000 off new Nautilus or $9,000 off new Corsair. Or how about $10,000 off Lincoln Aviator? Come get a great deal on all three from Tom Roush, where our family served yours since 1972.
Corsair stock number L25566, MSRP 55340. Nautilus stock number L26030, MSRP 62705. Aviator stock number L25384, MSRP 79450. See dealer for complete offer details.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
High five! Up top!
Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Heck yeah!
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Yes!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $74 a month with a 2-year agreement. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
Don Fisher for QC Kinetics. I was struggling with chronic knee pain and wasn't encouraged with the options of risky surgery and pain pills. QC Kinetics offered the best option for me, cutting-edge regenerative medicine. Their non-invasive treatment stimulated my body's own biologics so I could be pain-free and get back to doing what I love, playing golf. QC Kinetics has a fantastic success rate, and it's clear to see why so many Hoosiers are happy to tell their story of how they reclaim their lives with the QC Kinetics approach. Ready to live your life pain-free? Go to qckinetics.com/Indianapolis or call 317-559-PAIN and get a no-obligation consultation. QC Kinetics uses the latest technologies, whether it's stem cell, PRP, plasma, or a number of other advanced therapies. Call QC Kinetics. It'll be the best call you will make. Get back in the game, whatever that is for you. Call 317-559-PAIN.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Taxes 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Dugan Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, snow coming to Indiana soon. What forecasters say you need to know about both the immediate and longer-term future. More positive press for the Indianapolis International Airport, and a busy night coming up in college basketball. Those stories and more after Fox News Radio. You are listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A much bigger reward in the Nancy Guthrie search. I'm Dave Anthony.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery.
Savannah Guthrie in a new video this morning on day 24 of the search for her mother in Tucson, Arizona, saying they're in agony.
Worrying about her, and fearing for her, and aching for her, and most of all, just missing her.
Adding in that Vince Instagram video, someone knows how to find their mom.
We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
President Trump will talk to the nation tonight in the State of the Union address. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox.
And the president is, of course, going to tout his administration's record-setting accomplishments over the past year, while laying out an ambitious agenda to continue making the American dream more attainable and affordable.
But more than 36 Democrats will not show up tonight, boycotting as they keep blocking new funding for Homeland Security, demanding reform to immigration enforcement they say went out of control. The president could also address foreign conflicts tonight. This is the 4th anniversary of Russia invading Ukraine, and leader Vladimir Putin keeps waging that war amid U.S. brokered talks trying to end it. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said this morning,
Putin has not achieved his goals. He has not broken Ukrainians. He has not won this war. We have preserved Ukraine, and we will do everything to secure peace and justice.
The president may also talk about Iran. He has warned of military action soon if Iran does not agree to a deal to scale back its nuclear program. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will brief a group of Republicans and Democrats on congressional intelligence committees before tonight's address. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What's expected to arrive after more snowfall. Mostly cloudy and 25 degrees in downtown Indy. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. It is supposed to snow across Indiana on Thursday, but then Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey says you might like what arrives after that.
And the overall trend from what we can see over the next 8 to 14 days does kind of pit us above average with temperatures. Now, average high in early March, typically around the mid-40s. So that still could mean we're into the 50s.
He says the snow that most of Indiana will get starts to arrive Wednesday night. $2.77 a gallon is the Indiana gas average today, according to AAA. The national average is $2.95. The cheapest gas in the state is in Wayne County, where it's $2.53. Indiana legislators considering a provision that would give them more oversight over highway projects costing at least $250 million, including the Mid-States Corridor project. The proposed 54-mile highway would connect Interstates 64 and 69 with an estimated cost of more than $3 billion. Lawmakers are trying to balance new projects with maintaining and improving current roads because they have concerns about federal money. The Indianapolis International Airport has been named the best airport in North America for the 14th consecutive time in the annual Airports Council International World Survey. Travelers rated the airport highly in areas like atmosphere, check-in, security screening, gate areas, and ease of use. It also received top honors for best airport among airports accommodating anywhere between 5 to 15 million passengers and best airport for easiest airport journey in North America in that 2025 survey. Men's college basketball, Notre Dame faces the nation's top team tonight in South Bend. Len Clark reports.
The Irish tonight will once again be without offensive weapon Jalen Harrelson, who is out with an ankle injury. The defining battle, though, will be on the glass. Number 1 Duke enters with the ACC's best rebounding margin and ranks among the national leaders in scoring defense, using second-chance points to dictate tempo. Notre Dame counters with Carson Tout, the conference's leader in offensive rebounding, in a matchup that will shape possessions all night. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock Eastern. Len Clark, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
It's also a 7 o'clock tip for Indiana and Northwestern. Pregame coverage starts at 6 right here on 93 WIBC. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Exercise Inc. I've been a client for nearly 20 years, and I can tell you it works. I'm in my 70s now, and I'm doing things on the farm I couldn't even do in my 40s. Lifting, carrying, working without wondering if my body's going to quit on me. That's real strength. That's real results. And I'm not talking about vanity muscles. This is strength that shows up in real life. What makes Exercise Inc. different? The professional coaches, many with over 15 years of experience and a private gym where every workout is guided, efficient, and safe. Here's the best part. It only takes 20 minutes a week. Their training method came out of an osteoporosis research study. Their Simple 9 nutrition program has helped clients lose over 40,000 pounds, and people see real improvements in strength, energy, and health. This isn't a resolution you quit. It's a habit you keep. The consultation's free, and it's worth it. 5 locations: Avon, Brownsburg, Zionsville, and Greenwood, now in Fishers. Change your life in 20 minutes a week. Go to exerciseinc.com.
75% of the people either 1, don't like you, or 2, are too busy to be bothered with a silly question about you. So there's some new polling that came out, and it said that Indiana Governor Mike Braun, his statewide approval rating is sitting at just 25%. This was done by Public Policy Polling Survey. It was done between February 20th and the 21st. They asked only 554 voters. I don't know. That's not the biggest snapshot. But they found out that his statewide approval rating is sitting at only 25%. And the real deal here, Braun has struggled to get his agenda through the legislature in a lot of areas. Even when he signs bills, like property tax relief, the final results are completely different from his original proposal. He just can't deliver on the promises that he makes.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this is I was about 20% of the people surveyed had no opinion of Mike Braun.
Right.
That's probably worse.
I don't know.
Forget about the people that don't like you. You're the governor of the state, and 1 out of every 5 people in the state are like, whatever you're doing, don't care. Indifference is much worse than disapproval. Just completely indifferent. You don't affect my life. I don't care anything about. I have no opinion on you. That's the worst part about this. And look, a lot of people are going to get caught up in this 25%. This is a real polling company. So this is an honest, legit poll. Unlike, you remember during the 2024 election when the local Indiana Democrats put out their own poll that showed, Jennifer McCormick was within a few points of Mike Braun. Remember that? That was a fake poll. That was a poll for them to just kind of drum up some more more donor money and get some interest. This is an honest-to-goodness real poll, and while people are focusing on the 25% approval rating, which they should because that's terrible for Braun, it's bad no matter which way you look at it, because people will say, well, like you mentioned, there's only 500 and some people in this poll, or you can't trust polls. Okay, fine. Let's say that the truth is Braun's not at 25% approval rating. He's at 30% approval rating. Still terrible. Let's give him a ton of credit. Let's say Braun's at 35% approval rating. Still a disaster. The guy got 56% of the votes just a year ago in the election. And according to this, he's lost 20% minimum. If you take the poll on the surface, he's lost 30% of that support in just over a year. Shocking.
So a lot of his decisions in office, like replacing the elected trustees on the IU Board of Trustees with his own appointees, that has drawn some criticism. He heavily pushed for the mid-decade redistricting effort. Even with pressure from Donald Trump and support from Donald Trump, the bill ultimately failed in Indiana. He does, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, please.
He has had some successes.
Sure, of course.
And they all come from the education area, like the Universal School Choice Initiative that was expanded. Starting teacher pay was increased. Some new Indiana Blue Ribbon schools were recognized. And also the public universities in Indiana announced tuition and fee freezes for the next 2 years, although they were probably going to do that anyway.
Well, and I'll give Braun credit. You mentioned it as a controversial one, but the fact that the governor now gets more board seats at Indiana University. That was a controversial pick. I'd make that a win for him as far as I'm concerned. Look, Indiana University gets a ton of taxpayer dollars, and when you get our money, we get a say in how you run your organization. Now, obviously, we as voters don't directly get a say in that, but our elected officials should have a lot of say in what goes on at IU. So I'll give him a win for that as well. But you look about his signature piece of legislation last year was property taxes. That ended up being a disaster. Like you said, redistricting took up. We talked about redistricting for 6 months last year. 6 months, it seems like all we talked about was redistricting last year, and that was a fiery crash of a disaster for Mike Braun because he put everything he had behind that and could not get it across the finish line. A lot of these things, and then go to the things that he doesn't want to deal with, he just throws it on the legislature. He's just like, well, the House and Senate will figure that out, and I'm going to sit back here and, not have an opinion on it or not do anything about it. It's all of those things that lead up to a whopping 25% approval rating.
So a majority of this poll was about the Mid-State 2. The Mid-States Corridor is a proposed new 4-lane highway through Du Bois County in southern Indiana. Project is approximately 23 miles long, which would cost $1.1 billion, about $47 million per mile. And then they go and ask, do you support this? Do you oppose this? It was strongly opposed by 41%. And I noticed that just today, in the State Budget Committee, they're reviewing any highway project costing $250 million or more. They're putting new language in because of this Mid-States Corridor.
Yeah, and they're putting it into, interestingly enough, they're putting this amendment and this language into the bill about the Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
So when I first read this story and I heard that they're putting this road funding bill and they're tacking it on as an amendment to the bill as it relates to the Chicago Bears, my first thought was those stinking politicians. They're trying to cram through toll roads or a tax increase or something like that. They're going to cram it through in that Bears bill. Happily, I was wrong about this. This is actually a really good amendment. Not sure it should be put into the Bears bill as an amendment. Probably should sit as a bill all on its own. But essentially what this is requiring is that any road projects over $250 million need to be reviewed by the legislature before they can go forward. Seems pretty reasonable to me that if you're going to spend $250 million, that we have some people take another look at it.
Right. So you've got a lot of local residents who are opposing that Mid-States Corridor plan. Polls like that one showing a lot of strong resistance. And I'm not sure if this is a statewide issue. Like people in northern Indiana are going to go, Mid-States what? What are you talking about?
Right, that's down there. That's down there.
Heard about this
down there in Du Bois County, and people up north will go, "What? We have a Du Bois County? What's that?"
So you can look at this poll. They say it's statewide. However, the focus of it was something that doesn't affect the entire state, at least not people in northern Indiana. 46% of the people polled were from Indianapolis. Actually, 45% were from Indianapolis.
And that about matches the population. Almost half the people polled were from central Indiana. About half the state's population resides in central Indiana. So that makes sense. And some lawmakers have come out and said, look, this new proposal that we're trying to, tack on to the Chicago Bears bill about road funding, it has nothing to do with the Mid-States Corridor project. No, it's just a massive coincidence that that's the case. But you talked about these polls. There was actually a poll that was released in December last year that went county by county. So not only do, 40+% of the state not approve of the Mid-States Corridor project, even in Du Bois County, 81% of the residents in Du Bois County don't want this project running through their backyard.
Yeah, or their front yard.
Highly, just massively unpopular.
So lawmakers have added new requirements to a commercial trucking bill. It's House Bill 1200, and the bill would now require commercial driver's license tests to be taken in English before someone can operate big trucks in Indiana. Here is Governor Braun. He was on Fox News, and he was talking about CDL scrutiny.
Most of that issue has been with CDLs that they've been handing out like through a slot machine out in California. But it shows how that can happen anywhere, and I don't know where he got a CDL, but I've authorized the state police to be ramping up just routine traffic stops, and we're finding enough of it to where when we do vet the drivers, they are not documented properly. And the other complicating thing is documents. They're so good at faking them, you don't even know. But this is cropping up enough. Most of it has come from states that weren't really interested about the rigor of what you do to get a CDL. It shows it can happen anywhere, and now we've had 2 fatal incidents in our own state.
Yeah. So this bill also includes immigration-related provisions. The state can revoke a CDL if federal agencies give information that a driver lacks legal immigration status. So this bill is now linking immigration status and language proficiency to truck licensing, the trucking industry.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good thing. We obviously need more enforcement in this area. I do think that Braun was a little disingenuous there in that piece of audio that we just played, because he pretty much blamed all of this
other states
on California, which, by the way, the accident we just had last week on Rockville Road in Avon, where somebody was killed by an illegal immigrant driving on the road, was issued an Indiana state driver's license. By the way, it was also a real ID. There were photos of it that were produced out there. So it's not just California. Look, California is going to be terrible offenders, but we got to get our house right in order here in Indiana as well.
Another thing that happened, Braun was at the governor's breakfast when Trump found out that the Supreme Court wasn't going to go along with Trump's tariffs. And Braun was asked about how do tariffs impact small businesses in Indiana.
So if you're caught in one of the industries that you're dealing with that went global, took the supply chain there, it's hard to get around it. Many companies knew that if you're going there, especially if you want to tap their own consumer market someday, you've really gotten invested in the Chinese economy. Most don't, but when it has occurred, it takes a while to go somewhere else to get that product made. But getting tariffs down to where they're the same for the reciprocity, Trump's right on the money, and we need to keep doing it. Free and fair. If you impede our goods coming into your country, expect it from us in response.
Of course, he's going to give Donald Trump credit for everything as he's, continuing to ride Donald Trump's coattails.
Yeah, he's going to come out. Obviously, Braun and Trump are tied at the hip on everything, and even a controversial topic like tariffs are going to be part of that. And Braun started to go down this road when he talked about it in that audio we just played there. But my guess is that if you're a small business owner in this state and your business has been damaged significantly by tariffs, you were probably looking for a little bit more from Mike Braun than just what we heard.
Well, you're not going to be happy about the increased cost.
No, but you can come out and you can support Donald Trump's tariffs, but also have a plan in place to help small businesses in your state that are adversely affected by those tariffs, and talk about those and say, look, I understand your small business has been hurt by these tariffs, and that was, just part of the process. But look, here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to help, and here's how we're going to change things going forward so that this adverse effect that you've had on your business goes away and you can get back to be productive again. He started to go down that road, but he really didn't finish it off.
Well, if the goal is about fairness in trade, you can't punish the middle class at the counter, because that's not exactly a strategy to brag about.
Well, yeah, and when Trump and Braun mention fairness as it relates to tariffs, they're talking about fairness on the global international stage. And the average everyday American citizen, certainly the everyday Hoosier, really not all that concerned about fairness on the global stage. I want fairness right here in my backyard.
In my wallet.
I want fairness in my state. I want fairness in my small business that I run. And look, I get it that if somebody is going to tariff our goods, then we need to tariff their goods. But how about something for the little guy here that's just trying to run this small business where these tariffs are hammering my business and we're losing money now? That's where Trump and Braun need to come out, have some ideas, some concepts, and get a little bit more specific about that.
You're listening to 93 WIBC. Good morning.
February is when excuses disappear and effort has to show up every night.
It's been a rough couple weeks for us, but this group will keep fighting, keep learning, and get back on track.
The Big Ten is stacked, and postseason hopes are at stake.
Confidence is one of those things, like you drop a couple, and then you got to figure out a way to put it away fast. There's another one coming right in front of you.
IU meets Northwestern tonight at 7 on the home of the Hoosiers, 93 WIBC.
Pat Sullivan here. Fire emergency? I've had one. If you do, call Michaelis. Owner Richard Michaelis explains why.
Michaelis is local and family owned. 39 years of experience with 24/7, 365 response. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified, restoring your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
And Michaelis helps you through the insurance process, giving you peace of mind. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
There's one name for every home system: Chapman. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, drains, electrical, and now proudly serving Bloomington. Remember the man for all seasons, and now more reasons. Chapman. ChapmanHeating.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Has TSA PreCheck become a political football? Certainly seems like it. Is it open? Is it not open? Do we have global reentry? Do we not? What is going on? It seems like every other day it's changed.
Yeah, and this is going back to the partial government shutdown, which,
Right.
if you haven't been paying attention,
That started February 14th.
if you haven't been paying attention, and my guess is you haven't, because we all seem to have forgotten about it, there is a partial government shutdown that's still in place, and it's related to the Department of Homeland Security. And the Department of Homeland Security monitors global entry, TSA, airports, customs, all of those things fall into that bucket.
If you don't have global entry and you're traveling, you're going to be waiting in really long customs lines.
Yes, can you imagine? Let's say that you're an American and you went to Puerto Vallarta for a winter vacation.
First mistake.
It's freezing cold here and there's snow, and you go down to Puerto Vallarta and then you get caught in cartel violence. And as you're sitting in your beautiful resort in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and you're seeing buildings and buses burning all around you, airport is shut down, you're forced to stay longer there under some really adverse conditions, but you make it through all of that, and you finally get a flight out of Mexico, and you land back in the good old US of A, and you go to give them your global entry at customs so you can go through the line faster, and you're like, no, I'm sorry, global entry isn't active right now because of the partial government shutdown. Can you the salt in the wound, the fit that I would throw right there at customs if that was me? No,
You wouldn't actually throw a fit.
No,
you would
because
be saying things under your breath, though.
because I respect people at customs and border patrol, and I wouldn't. And it's not their fault; they're just showing up to their job every day, and it's the government that's shut down. But I would walk away to somewhere else, and I'd probably you'd be the source of my venting of frustrations. You'd get to hear all about how upset I am about it.
So what? Global entry is currently suspended. You've got the TSA pre-check, which was briefly stopped, but then TSA reversed that, and they kept it operating for now. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so global entry is not working right now because of the partial government shutdown. They came out and said that they were also going to shut down TSA pre-check, and then they backtracked on that.
And then they opened it up.
Said no. And here's the reason why they backtracked on that, because this government shutdown really isn't about anything other than political theater. It's all about trying to score political points. And both sides know that at the minute TSA pre-check gets shut down, it all of a sudden becomes real to the American people. Because if you're traveling on the regular and you're got TSA pre-check, and then all of a sudden you have to stand in the regular lines, now I'm upset that there's a partial government shutdown.
You mean like what we do every time we travel somewhere, every time we fly somewhere,
Why,
which we don't do often because I prefer to drive.
But once or twice a year we'll fly somewhere, and yes, I have TSA pre-check.
We got to put this to our audience. And is that wrong? Should you not be doing that? You're TSA pre-checked, and I am not.
And by the way,
so when we fly, you always say, "Okay, see you later."
I go through TSA pre-check, and you go through with the rest of the normies.
Right.
Yes.
So my line is normally longer.
Much longer.
You don't ever feel bad about leaving me?
No, I do feel bad about leaving you. But it's not like you're banned from getting TSA pre-check. It's not like that you got into a fist fight with somebody at the airport and they're like, "Nah, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't be approved." You can go out and get TSA pre-check. It takes like 10 minutes to sign up for it online.
So is it on you to wait with me in the regular line, or is it on me to go get TSA pre-check?
It's on you to go get TSA pre-check.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Yes, of course. I've done the things. I spent the 10 minutes on the website signing up for TSA pre-check years ago.
It was longer than 10 minutes. You had to go get interviewed or something, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was way back when TSA pre-check started. You don't have to do any of that stuff anymore.
Now you just go on the website?
You just go on the website and you give them your information. You got to upload some documents and that sort of stuff. It literally takes 10 minutes. That's all. If you invested 10 minutes of your time to get TSA pre-check, you would save hours and hours of standing in line when you go to the airport. Are you comfortable with the fact that I go through TSA pre-check at the airport while you're stuck in the regular lines? Are you good with that?
No, I'm not good with that. I want you to wait in line with me.
So you would rather drag me down to your level than spend a few minutes to rise up and get TSA pre-check.
I'll rise up. That's
Please.
a good point.
I've been begging you for years to do this.
I didn't realize it was only 10 minutes now. I thought you had to go get interviewed, and that was like a whole thing. Like, you had to drive an hour away for the interview.
No,
when you first originally did this.
Yes, but that was ages ago. That was like 15 years ago.
They've
when they
expedited
first
the process.
They have
now.
cleaned up the process.
Okay,
a lot.
so
It's
we're
not
going to
that
say
deep.
this is on me. This is on me
Thank
now.
you.
To get TSA pre-check.
Thank you.
So we don't even fly that often. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna clip this segment of the show out because if we fly next time and you don't have TSA pre-check, I'm gonna bust out my phone and play this clip of the show and be like, "You said you were gonna do it."
Are you ever concerned that I'm not going to get through security? Like you're ever like, is she really going to make it through? They're going to pat her down. They're going to stop her. Like, because you're always waiting for me. You go through the TSA pre-check, you hustle through really quick, and then I have to work my way through the stanchions and the long line, and then eventually I get there, and you're standing there waiting for me. Like, what are you doing? You're just like hanging out, waiting for me to get through the line.
I watch you go through the line. I watch as you go back and forth through the stanchions, and then you go in that little machine where you got to lift your arms up, and it does the little whoosh whoosh, and then I watch you stand there and get your bag out of the X-ray machine.
So
That's
you
what
got
I'm doing.
eyes on the whole time.
I'm watching you the whole time.
But you're not doing anything with your extra available time that you've saved getting that TSA pre-check.
I'm making sure you get through okay.
Okay. Now, when you're flying alone, you're probably off to the gate quick.
Yeah, well, I can show up to the airport 20 minutes later because I know that I'll go whiz through on TSA and I don't have, to wait at the end of the regular security line. Yes.
Well, thank you for waiting for me. That's very, very sweet.
And remember, you said it. This isn't on me. This is on you for not going and getting TSA
Did you see
pre-check.
that the Indy Airport's going to be adding some new food and drink options? Daredevil Brewing Company is going to be featured in a new spot called Liftoff, and they're going to serve craft beer and tavern-style pizzas. This is going to happen in Concourse A, and they also have a new coffee and food concept called Java House Bistro. So that's what you can do next time you fly. You can go check out these new spots.
Yeah, and smart. Look, I don't understand why airports don't have more places that serve coffee. Like most airports in the
They got like one Starbucks.
Yeah,
or one...
the Indy airport is guilty of this as well, so it's good they're adding another coffee place. But come on, coffee is usually one of the primary things that people purchase when they're at the airport because we're all getting up early and we're all traveling, and that's a chore, and we need that little extra boost of energy. And usually most airports, including the Indy airport, have like one Starbucks in your concourse, and there's 15 people waiting in line, and it takes you 45 minutes to get a simple coffee.
They're also going to kind of rotate some specialty food spots, and they're also going to renovate Shapiro's. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Arielle Winter. If you're anything like me, your pets are not only your best friends, they're part of your family. American Humane, which has been rescuing animals like Cleo here for more than 100 years, has life-saving tips that can make a big difference in a disaster. When disaster strikes, you want to protect your whole family, including your pets. To help keep your family safe and help our best friends in their worst times, find tips at AmericanHumane.org.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
She's putting up more reward money. Mostly cloudy and 27 in the Circle City. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:31. The family of Nancy Guthrie now offering a $1 million reward as the search continues for her in southern Arizona. Here's her daughter, Today host Savannah Guthrie, posting a new video on social media this morning.
We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
Police say they have been combing over thousands of tips. Nancy went missing February 1st. President Trump to deliver the State of the Union address tonight before a joint session of Congress. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt gives us a look into what he's supposed to say.
You're going to hear the president share the stories of everyday Americans who have benefited from his policies. You're going to hear the president share tear-jerking stories of American heroes, past and present.
The president says expect a long speech because there's a lot to talk about. A new study shows that eating lots of oatmeal for a short period does reduce bad cholesterol. That's according to the University of Bonn in Germany, and 32 people in that study were at risk of diabetes, and they had them eat oatmeal on a low-calorie diet 3 times in a day for 2 days. The study found that the group that ate the oatmeal resulted in a 10% reduction in bad cholesterol, and those results held for 6 weeks. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Great Lakes Honda of Fishers is heating things up with red hot deals during Pay What We Pay invoice pricing going on now. Come into Great Lakes Honda and get invoice pricing without the gimmicks, like a new Honda Odyssey EXL for under $42,000 with a finance special of 3.99% APR for 48 months or 4.99% APR for 60 months. So come in out of the cold for red hot prices at Great Lakes Honda of Fishers. Tax not included. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. All fees and first payment due at signing. Offer ends March 31st. See dealer for details.
When Duke & Air began servicing Johnson, Shelby, Bartholomew, Brown, Morgan, and Marion County over 17 years ago, they focused on a great customer experience. That has grown into the Dugan difference. Dugan is always looking to go above and beyond for their customers, consistently giving top-notch service every time. You will be taken care of. Dugan Air is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer. Go DuganAir.com. Go DuganAir.com. Dugan Air.
Premium service, no shenanigans.
Attention quality control personnel, plant managers, and sales representatives. Are you looking to work for a company that provides you with a great starting wage, outstanding benefits, and a generous retirement plan? Irving Materials Incorporated is hiring for these positions in the greater Indianapolis area. If you're a quality control technician, plant manager, or sales representative, IMI has opportunities available for you. To learn more, visit DriveIMI.com. DriveIMI.com. DriveIMI.com.
JV here with an exclusive scoop on how you can attend one of my favorite events, the NFL Combine. You can attend for free. Step inside Lucas Oil Stadium to see future NFL stars up close on the field. There's a Combine experience for fans to pass, punt, and run. You can attend for free February the 26th through March the 1st. Sign up for your free tickets and free parking at visitindy.com/combine. The NFL Combine. Get up close to see the best college football stars trying out for the NFL. February the 26th through March the 1st. Sign up for free at visitindy.com/combine. I'll see you there.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
We mean business. We mean business.
Sure, refunds are going to be higher, but that just means you overpaid throughout the year and you're just getting your own money back. Bigger refunds, they're nice, but they don't automatically mean better long-term tax fairness or even lower tax bills overall. So it's being reported that the average federal tax refund is going to be significantly higher this year, especially compared to last year, up around 14% or more. So far, the average refund is going to be in the mid-2400s.
So this is mostly driven by the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that was passed in 2025. So keep in mind here, this is another example of the government picking winners and losers. Because who benefits from this? Well, if you've got a child under 18, they increase the income tax, the child tax credit. So there's that. There's a new deduction for seniors. Things like deductions for, the no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. So, and by the way, if you live in a state that has super high property taxes and income taxes and state taxes, it's called the SALT tax deduction. That was increased. So, but if you don't qualify for any of those things, which huge chunks of the American public don't qualify for any of those things, you're really not going to see a bigger tax refund this year. And that's the vast majority of people. Oh, and by the way, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, where you can thank them for these tax refunds, it's also going to add an additional $5 trillion on the national debt. Why do you think that we had such crazy, out-of-control inflation under Joe Biden? It's because during COVID, the U.S. government spent more than $1 trillion in absolute free money giveaways to both individuals and businesses. They flooded the marketplace with money, and so the price of everything went through the roof. This is just another example of that. So if you qualify for one of these tax breaks, great, I'm happy for you. Not all of us do, but keep in mind, this is only going to produce more inflation. The big, beautiful bill is going to add another $5 trillion onto the national debt.
Yeah. So you also have a lot of people that didn't change their withholding to match any new tax cuts. And so when you get this big check back, you're thinking, woo, look at me, yay. No, that was your money all along. The government was just using it. And now you've got some amounts that are going to vary a lot by income, filing status, also your individual tax situation. Not everybody is going to get a bigger refund, too.
Well, and let's be honest here, too. You know, Trump's been selling this, that these are going to be the largest refunds in American history. Americans are going to see the largest refunds in history. $10,000, $20,000 were the types of numbers he was throwing out there. Oh, yeah, if you're super rich, sure. If you're super rich, that's going to be wonderful and fantastic for you. So a lot of people have been selling this. Trump's been pushing it like it's the greatest thing in the world. There's going to be a huge chunk of the American public that's going to look at their tax refund and go, this is it? This is what I got? It's not very much. And again, it's the government picking winners and losers. If you earn overtime, okay, fine. Good for you. If you're a senior, you got a little something. If you got a kid who's under 18 and a dependent, you're going to get a little something. But a huge chunk of the American population not going to get anything extra.
Everything you just listed, I don't qualify for.
Well, maybe that's why I'm so upset about it, because we don't qualify for any of that stuff. We don't qualify for one of those
things.
What
about me?
The no tax on tips, that's not me. No tax on overtime, that's not me. Don't have a kid that can get a child tax credit. I'm not a senior yet. I'm one of the people, the American, part of the American population that's not going to get one extra bit of tax refund this year.
Okay, speaking of taxes, Hoosier taxpayers shouldn't be paying the bill for a new billionaires stadium, right? Let's talk about the Bears and that state fiscal report that came out. It's the fiscal impact statement, and it outlines millions in tax increases. Senate Bill 27 could lead to millions in new taxes collected in Northwest Indiana.
All right, Casey, are you ready for a little math here?
No, I hate math.
No, we're going to do some math anyway. I shouldn't have asked that question. Let me start again. Casey, get ready for some math.
Okay, yay!
All right, so the state is about, and these numbers are rough numbers here, but you'll make the point. The state is contributing about $1 billion. So the math on, and how they're going to make up for that, 1% food and beverage tax in Lake and Porter counties. Mm-hmm. The estimates on that is that'll bring in about $12 million annually. Okay, so keep that number in mind. They're doubling the hotel tax in Lake County, and that's going to bring in about another $5 million a year. Then there's going to be an admissions tax. So anytime you go to the stadium, 12%. Anytime you go to the stadium for any event, like a Bears game, you're going to pay 12% on your tickets. I did the math on that. Bears get about $1 million in revenue from a single game. 12%, it's about $1.5 million. We'll call that $15 million a year in annual revenue. So add it all up. Mm-hmm. $15 million from the food and beverage tax.
Yep.
$5 million from the hotel tax.
We're at 20.
$15 million from the event tax.
We're at $35 million.
$35 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the state is spending $1 billion. I'm trying to figure out where the other money is going to come from, and here's where it's coming from. Not so specific on this part. These details are fuzzy, but the Northwest Indiana Professional Sports Development Area could capture additional tax revenue on sales, income, and use taxes to support the stadium. Oh, and by the way, they're trying to renegotiate the Indiana toll road lease, the 8090 toll road that runs in the northern part of the state. They're trying to renegotiate that and put the savings toward this as well. Seems like we're still left with a massive shortfall to get to $1 billion.
Is it worth it to have the Chicago Bears in Indiana? You've got tax hikes for beer, hotels, and tickets, all a little sneaky, right? Sneaky ways for everyday people to pay for these big sports projects.
My point in all this is it doesn't seem to add up. It seems like we're looking at $35 million a year in additional taxes, yet we're going to be spending $1 billion in public funds on this. Where is the rest of the money coming from? And I'm afraid that it's going to come from that kind of non-specific area about the additional sales, income, use taxes, toll road renegotiation. That seems like where the vast majority is going to come from.
So you've got John Mellencamp, who was on with Bill Maher, and they were talking about, well, a lot of things. First of all, they were talking about farmers, and it seemed like at one point, Bill Maher actually, he was stumping John Mellencamp on something. He just was befuddled. Listen to this.
The way that they tell us to eat now, you couldn't eat that. That's the way we ate back then, but the food was real food.
Real food.
Yeah, when we started Farm Aid, Willie and Neil and I think all of us were naive enough to think that if we do this show, that the politicians will go, these guys have a good point. We need to help the small family farmer.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's going to take more than a concert. It's going to take more than a march to get rid of.
Trump wrote a lot of checks to farmers.
Huh?
Trump wrote a lot of checks to farmers because he them often with like tariffs and stuff.
Right.
Like he did stuff, or the first term there was like, trade deals with China that he wanted to show China who's boss and who pays. It's the people who sell soybeans to China.
No, yeah, but if you watch in the video that I made for a song called "Rain on the Scarecrow," it's talking to some young farmers, and it talks about that, and that was 1983.
Right.
It seems like Mellencamp is a little disconnected there.
Well, this is the problem when we look to celebrities to have really difficult conversations about what's wrong in our country and about the political situation. It turns out, Casey may be surprised to hear this, but it turns out celebrities really don't know a whole lot about that. These are really difficult, hard situations. People that have studied these problems for decades have trouble understanding them and come up with solutions. So to think that we're going to go to celebrities and have an in-depth, intelligent conversation about difficult situations in our country right now, it's ridiculous. And John Mellencamp just comes across as being totally out of his league on this.
It did seem like that his comment stood out as like unexpected. Yes, technically true. Trump did provide those checks, $2 billion in economic assistance to U.S. farmers because they were struggling with the exports from China, especially, these trade tensions. And then Bill Maher pointed that out. Huh?
Yeah, this is why celebrities are usually and typically way out of their field on these conversations. These are really difficult problems to even understand, much less solve. And then you've got a celebrity who thinks their opinion is more important than your opinion, so much so that they're going to go on a show with Bill Maher and tell you all about what they think, and then they get stumped on an easy question like this. John Mellencamp just looked like a celebrity, an uninformed celebrity.
He did. He did seem like he was opposing, obviously, Trump's trade wars, and that view, I think, will resonate with some Hoosiers, though. Here he is talking about the first time that he met Donald Trump.
And cut to another time I saw him at some award for, I don't know, something. Couldn't have been nicer. Then I saw him again. Couldn't have been nicer. And then when I saw him running for president, I thought, who the is this guy?
Exactly. It's exactly what I said when I gave my report about the White House dinner and people were attacking me. And I said exactly that. I went to that dinner and he was this nice guy never argued with me, allowed me to dissent on anything and just confront him with anything and wasn't blustery. And then I went home, and when I got home, I turned on 60 Minutes, and there he was, on 60 Minutes, you people are terrible people. I'm like, who the f*** is this guy?
I know, exactly.
And, again, the small-mindedness of so many people on the far left that they can't, they're so emotional about Donald Trump. They don't get it that, yeah, of course, he is this crazy person. He's playing in public. You keep two thoughts in your head at the same time. He's not that person always. He's a very different guy. Let's figure out how to use that to our advantage. Instead of just saying, don't talk to that guy. No, let's talk to that guy.
Yeah.
I think I know the problem there when Bill Maher was saying that he turned on 60 Minutes.
Oh, yeah, 60 Minutes, is that the problem? That's the core?
The problem. I've identified it.
Look, this is why I like Bill Maher.
He seems to come and go with whatever way the wind is blowing based on his guest, though.
True, but the reason why I like Bill Maher, even though he and I disagree on so much, is he approaches these topics with a certain sense of intellectual honesty. And he's not afraid to call out his own party when he thinks that they're wrong. And he addresses these and looks and sits there and says, look, I may disagree with everything that Trump does, but I'm still going to have a conversation with the guy. Compare that to what we're going to see at the State of the Union tonight, when Donald Trump gives his speech and half of the audience is going to be gone because tons of Democrats don't want to even be in the same room as Donald Trump, much less have a conversation with him.
Well, you've got Mellencamp on one side saying that he couldn't have been nicer, and then you've got Bill Maher saying that he's different in public versus private, which is a total disconnect. It really does. It does do away with the Trump derangement syndrome of the one-dimensional side that the left always tries to portray Trump as.
Well, yes, and again, the reason why Bill Maher knows that information, that he's a different guy in person and one-to-one, it's because he went and met with him. So maybe if you talk to people you disagree with, and that's something that I've always given Donald Trump credit for. He's not afraid to talk to any people. He'll go on any podcast, any show. He still does interviews with the New York Times and 60 Minutes, two liberal media organizations that hate his guts. He'll go talk to Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He'll talk to Vladimir Putin. Doesn't mean you agree with them. Doesn't mean that just by talking with them you support any of their concepts and ideas, but we've got to talk with everybody, including the people we disagree with and certainly our enemies on the world stage.
You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Tomorrow on Tony Katz in the Morning News, getting ready for the State of the Union. What are the subjects Trump is going to hit? 6 to 9 a.m., Tony Katz in the Morning News, right here on 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah, the Made in Indiana sale with Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. With all the good stuff happening with the Hoosiers, let's give you all a better price on everything Indiana made at Thompson Furniture. I'm talking outdoor furniture by Polywood, which I have at my house. 50% off Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern.
All made by Hoosiers in Indiana and only on sale at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, with interest-free financing and free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters. Over 3 decades of restoring your home or business to better than new condition. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hey, what's going on? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel show. And I'm not going to lie to you. I needed help I got a bald spot in the back of my head, and it's embarrassing. I see it when I'm on television. I see it when I'm on the YouTube channel. So I decided to reach out for help. And my friends at We Grow Hair Indie decided to help me out here. These guys are the absolute best. I was a little leery about it. I could not have a procedure that, one, hurt, or two, left me looking like I'd been scalped. But after I talked with Darren and the entire team at We Grow Hair Indie, they told me their state-of-the-art technology, the progress made in hair growth, it's going to be okay. If I can do this, you guys can do this. Contact the team at We Grow Hair Indie, 317-522-2995. That's 522-2995. Get that free evaluation. It's free. You can also go online to WeGrowHairIndie.com. Contact them today and do this with me. WeGrowHairIndie.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus an extra $100 off all mattresses. And Saturday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
For 22 years, Exercise Inc. has helped Hoosiers build muscle, lose weight, and transform their health, creating lifelong habits. Only takes 20 minutes once a week. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Got friends or family who are hearing impaired? We've got you covered. Watch our shows aired live with closed captioning provided by Relay Indiana, making every moment accessible for all. Go to youtube.com/@WIBC to watch live and don't miss a moment.
Are there any examples where someone fled to Canada and their life actually improved? Here's a woman who went there because of Trump's policies, and she said, "Oh, it's like from the movie The Hangover. I think we messed up."
Except they don't say messed up. Yes.
They don't say messed up.
The point still made.
Yeah, here she is putting her stuff out there for everyone to see.
I'm a scholar of the far right who has fled the United States to Canada, and I need help. The situation in Canada is absolutely dire. For Americans who don't know, the housing crisis here is worse than in the United States. I lived in LA for 6 years, and I have not faced rent as bad as here. When my partner, our cat, and our dog fled the United States, we headed north with the goal of being close to where our families are located, which is on the West Coast. So we are now in British Columbia. More specifically, we are in the Sea to Sky Highway in the Greater Vancouver area. We are attempting to find housing in the western side of this region. My partner and I are here on a visitor visa, which is a 6 months possible stay for Americans. But while you're here on a visitor visa, you can't work. So we are currently surviving off of what savings we could get together before we fled the United States. And that's not terribly much. And in Canada, I think it's actually the cost of living crisis is worse here, especially when you are shut out of the healthcare system, when you can't access any of the resources that Canadians have access to. And that's understandable. You know, I'm not a citizen of the country, but it is making the financial situation dire because we can't work. Because there are 2 adults, a cat and a dog, we are looking for more than a room.
Help me. I chose poorly.
My favorite part of all of that was her opening line. I'm a scholar of the far right.
Yeah.
Nothing. No statement could sound more elitist to start off with. I've spent my entire life studying the far right.
Like,
I'm a scholar.
More specifically, we're in Vancouver at 321 Maple Street.
Well,
come on.
She leads you to believe. I mean, she sounds well-spoken, and the fact that she calls herself a scholar to start off with sounds like she's a reasonably intelligent woman. Does she not know how Google works? Could she not sit here and say, hey, I wonder how much rent is in Vancouver? If only we had a device that allowed us to get that. Oh, right here in my pocket. It's called my phone, and I can Google that information. Look, I get it. There are people that don't like the United States that live here. There are citizens here that don't agree with our policies, but you may find this shocking. We're better, and we may have a lot of flaws, but for all those flaws, we're better than every single other country on this entire planet. And sometimes you got to move there before you figure it out and get it through your thick head.
Why would you go to another country on a visitor visa, by the way? She knew what kind of visa it was, not a working visa, a visitor visa, and not have a tidy sum of money to get you by. Oh, that was the audio of the day, by the way. It is 93 WIBC.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait. And don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm at Decatur Township Station 73 in Canby, Indiana. I'm a firefighter engineer. I drive all emergency equipment to the scenes. So my father-in-law, his health was declining. We needed to move him to put in assisted living, and we needed to get the home out of his name. It definitely affects your job, thinking about things at home, trying to get things settled. I would catch myself here at the firehouse thinking about, I need to hurry up and get this done with the home. I need to close on it. I really didn't want to hassle with putting it on the market, listing it. I just Googled and found Simple Quarters, and I reached out to Megan, and the process could not have been smoother. She met with me, I think it was the next day. We did a walkthrough of the house. It just took an hour to do the walkthrough of the property. Megan was straightforward from start to the finish. She told me what they could offer. There was no pressure involved whatsoever. The pricing I got for the house was very fair. I would recommend Simple Quarters. The process was very, very simple.
Call Simple Quarters 317-687-HOME. 317-687-HOME.
All right, fellas, 2 words for you. Prostate exam. Did your butt just clench up? Are you imagining the finger right now? Well, you can relax. Prostate cancer screening starts with a simple, finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. But that's no reason to re-clench. When caught early, at localized or even regional stage, prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate. Did your tight end just relax? Good. If you're 40 or older and have a prostate, visit RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com to find out if a PSA blood test is right for you. The PSA blood test can be the first step in screening. Talk to your doctor to evaluate your risk, determine when to get tested, and discuss screening options and next steps. That's RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com. Sponsored by Novartis.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business.
We mean business. Trust me.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Dugan Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, a bill is being discussed by lawmakers that could have a big impact on Medicaid in Indiana, and who from Indiana will be attending the president's speech this evening. Those stories and more after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it's 11 o'clock.
This
This is a Fox News alert. A new video from Savannah Guthrie in the search for her mom. I'm Dave Anthony.
Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. And we are begging you to please come forward now.
Adding in that Instagram video this morning.
We still believe in a miracle.
But Savannah Guthrie also acknowledges in day 24 of the search for her 84-year-old mom.
She may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven.
Fox Business Network's Max Gordon's in Tucson, Arizona.
The big headline here is that the family is now offering up to $1 million for information that leads to Nancy Guthrie's recovery. Now, the family is also donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Savannah saying in that video that she hopes that other families of missing people get the same amount of attention that her family has.
President Trump getting ready to address the nation tonight in front of Congress. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox.
This is our house, and we're not leaving it because we have someone coming that we do not agree with.
That's actually Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who is not among the 36 Democrats who will boycott tonight's speech. Back to Leavitt.
The president will lay out the case for why he and Republicans are better suited to continue tackling the affordability crisis that was created by the Biden administration.
The State of the Union also comes amid a massive U.S. military buildup in the Middle East and tensions with Iran. Leavitt says the president's first option remains diplomacy to end Iran's nuclear program.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the weather might be throwing at you. Mostly cloudy at the moment, 29 degrees in downtown Indy, but it feels like 14. I'm John Herrick. This report is brought to you by Window Nation. Here is what's trending at 11:02. Temperatures will stay low in Indiana over the next few days, and forecasters say there's one thing you need to watch out for. Ryan Hedrick reports.
And that one thing is black ice.
As long as temperatures are still going below freezing during the overnight hours, you're still going to have that threat.
Wish TV forecaster Marcus Bailey says we could be still dealing with black ice into March.
And maybe even early April. That's not unusual to have those kind of overnights that are below freezing.
Bailey says dealing with black ice depends on both the temperature and whether there's any precipitation around. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
First Lieutenant Catherine Corsolino of the Indiana National Guard has been invited to attend President Donald Trump's State of the Union address this evening by U.S. Representative Jefferson Shreve. Shreve praised Corsolino for her service, discipline, and leadership, stating that she represents the best of Indiana. The Indiana House has approved a Senate bill that advocacy groups say will strip food and health care from thousands of Hoosiers. Johnette Cruz reports.
The bill tightens rules for Medicaid and SNAP, including a new $3,000 limit on family savings. Aaron Macy of the Indianapolis Community Action Poverty Institute calls the move baffling, noting that 1 in 4 Hoosiers will face a medical event that takes them out of the workforce. Critics warn that instead of stopping fraud, the bill simply creates expensive red tape that will leave families hungry and uninsured. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If you need to get gas today, AAA says the Indiana gas average is $2.77 a gallon. That's higher than it was on Monday, but 10 cents lower than this time a month ago. The 28-0 Center Grove Trojan girls basketball team will try to win the 4A championship this Saturday when they face the Norwell Knights. Center Grove head coach Kevin Stuckmeyer says his team has done a great job minimizing distractions.
Their poise has been phenomenal. But I think it's just their competitiveness to get them there, and that's been there, and you want to play your best basketball at the end.
All 4 championships in classes 1A through 4A will be determined on Saturday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Window Nation, WindowsNation.com. Window Nation was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies, so you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. That's what I did. They were in and out of my house within a day, replaced the whole front of my house with brand new windows, saving a ton on energy bills, keeping the cold air out and the warm air in with Window Nation and WindowNation.com.
Schedule your fast and free estimate right now with Window Nation. Go to their website, windownation.com. Shop around, find what you like, but take advantage of this deal. Buy 4, get 4 windows for free, and get an extra 10% off. And again, a fast and free estimate is available at windownation.com. But to get the deal, you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
So you've got the State of the Union address tonight, a stage for messaging, not just policy reporting, although Donald Trump, I'm sure, will say that he won affordability. He said it was going to be long. And even though he said he won affordability, the economy and the cost of living is the number one thing that people want to hear about tonight in the State of the Union address. So economy and jobs, most likely on the docket. Immigration, border security, probably going to hear about that. Energy and American first policies, he'll touch on that. And foreign policy, I'm guessing he'll mention that, even though foreign policy is the least thing people want to hear about.
Yeah, I think Trump is going to mention everything in the speech
Well, he did
tonight.
say it was going to be long.
Yeah, so normally Trump's State of the Union speeches run about 60 to 90 minutes, and he came out yesterday and said, this is going to be a long one this year. So hold on to your hats, sit down. We're going to be here for a while. I'm saying the over-under on the length of Trump's State of the Union speech tonight, right at 2 hours. I'm still taking the over on that. I think he's going to exceed a 2-hour speech tonight.
You've got a lot of Democrats who say they plan to skip the State of the Union address. And so what? They're just not going to show up? Performative? Hello.
Well, yeah.
Do your job. That's part of the gig.
Look, there's nothing liberals love more than virtue signaling. They really don't care about these issues. They tell you they care about these issues, but it's just so that they can tell you how caring they are and how these issues are so important to them. They're not really. They're all about putting pronouns in their bio, about changing their picture on Twitter to represent whatever flag of whatever oppressed country we're supposed to be supporting this week. It is all performative. It is all virtue signaling, and the fact that you're going to have a huge amount of Democrats that are boycotting the State of the Union tonight. Again, more virtue signaling.
Now, what would happen to you if you didn't show up for your job? Oh.
They would invite me to not come into work anymore, also known as firing me.
Sure,
yeah.
Right? But these people, they can just skip out on a meeting, and that's just going to give more room to the U.S. men's hockey team. By the way, did you see the party they had last night, the U.S. men's hockey team? It was in Miami. The cost to get the gold with the men's hockey team.
Yeah, 11 is one of the big hot nightclubs down on South Beach in Miami. It's where the Super Bowl winners partied this year. There were a lot of social media posts there. USA men's hockey team were there last night. Hey, they looked like they were having a good time, and for $500 a head at cover charge at the door, it better be a good time. But yeah, there are great videos on social media of them, drinking champagne straight from the bottle and singing the national anthem and singing songs and all partying and having a good time. I'm all for it. They earned every bit of that.
So you've got Trump's approval ratings as he goes into the State of the Union address. And overall, they're sitting between 36 and 40%, disapproval in the mid-50s to the 60 range, one of the lowest points of his presidency. However, in Indiana, he's actually doing better in Indiana than he does nationwide.
He's doing great in Indiana, and there's a variety of polls. IndyStar's got a great article on their website out today about it. And so in one poll, he's at a 49% approval rating, and another one, a 48% approval rating. What is so surprising about this? So contrast that with what we talked about earlier, which were Mike Braun's approval rating. The governor's approval rating in the most recent poll came in at 25%. Look at that massive disconnect.
Well, some state-level trackers have Trump's approval rating at 49% in Indiana, and Mike Braun's latest was at 25%.
At 25%. So you can sit here and say, and keep in mind, polls, a lot of people, if you're a Republican, you're just going to, say that you approve of the Republicans. Not in this specific case. I mean, that is a huge difference with Trump right at 50% or close to it and Braun at 25%. Clearly, there is a disconnect. And despite the fact that Braun has tied himself to Trump's hip for the last year since he got into that governor's office, despite that, Braun has a 25% approval
Underperforming.
rating in Indiana, and Trump has nearly 50%.
So Trump's approval rating being down doesn't mean he's out of the game. Obviously, it means that Republicans can't take voters for granted. You have, what was his name? Where's he at? Oh, Blake Feicher. Yeah, he was a Republican primary challenger who was endorsed by Donald Trump, and he ended his campaign in District 19. He said that he didn't have enough people. The district was large, and he didn't have enough day-to-day help, staff, or money to get him completely organized. If you don't know how big your district is, maybe don't run there.
Yeah, I was really surprised that Trump, came out and endorsed this guy. This is the problem with all of it. We talked about this during the redistricting fight and how people like TPUSA and, national social media influencers and people from Washington, they were so upset that Indiana didn't redistrict here, and they came out against the Republicans, and the cry was, primary all of them, primary every single one of them. And we sat here right in the studio and talked about that is a lot harder than what it sounds like. You've got to raise an incredible amount of money. Every one of those politicians at the Indiana State House right now, each one of them are extraordinarily connected into their communities. They're part of their communities. They're connected there. They're very connected to the local party leadership structure. Usually it's the county GOP. They're very connected to the fundraising mechanisms. They know how running for office works. And then you've got this guy like Blake Feicher, which, again, based on his comments, seemed to believe that the district he was running in was surprised that it was bigger than just parts of Allen County near Fort Wayne.
Bigger than I thought.
And that you might have to hire some people and bring on some help to run a campaign. So when all of those people last year were like, a primary, every single one of these Republicans didn't vote for redistricting, this is typically what you get. And despite the fact that he got an endorsement from Donald Trump,
it shows you that endorsements on their own aren't enough to win.
Well,
you're going to have some ground game. You're going to have to organize. Oh, and money.
And by the way, you have to find good candidates. You can't throw an empty suit up there and slap a Donald Trump endorsement on his back and expect them to be able to win a primary in a hotly contested area against a strong incumbent. It's not easy finding these people. And so when Trump endorsed this Blake Feicher, the guy didn't realize what it took to run a campaign, and now he's out. He's like, I can't take this no more. I'm out.
So I guess that means we're going to have Travis Holdman around a little bit longer.
Or else they're going to have to find somebody else that wants to run for, although the deadline's already passed. The deadline to be part of the primary is already passed. So it looks like Travis Holdman, and now Blake Feicher's name will still be on the ballot. Even though he's dropped out of the race, his name will still be on the ballot, but it looks like Senator Travis Holdman is pretty safe in the May 5th GOP primary.
So you've got the travel warning that has been issued for Mexico. So does that mean that you should cancel your holiday?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Let's answer that quickly and easily.
Well, would you have, let's say.
You should.
You remember?
Don't go there.
You remember in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea? If you had a trip to Ukraine planned then, do you think you would have kept it? No. It was a potential war zone and a disaster. I mentioned that specifically. I don't know if you remember this, Casey.
Yes, I do remember that.
I had an opportunity to go to Ukraine as part of a State Department program, and they asked me and came to me and said, hey, we really
they
love it.
They wanted you to go and work on their radio stations,
their
communications
they had
within
the
that country.
State Department program where there was this sharing about how to create radio and television stations in Ukraine because they were really bad at it. And so they would send media professionals from the United States over to Ukraine for about a month and teach them on how to run media companies. And the State Department reached out to me and said, hey, we'd really like you to be part of this. And I was like, are you kidding me? Russia just annexed part of their country a month ago. There's a war brewing in that country. No, I'm not going to Ukraine. So yeah, if you've got a trip planned to Mexico,
whether it's business or pleasure,
kind of seems like things may not be on the up and up. I don't know. When I see a country where some of their most popular vacation resort cities are literally on fire, houses and buses burning. By the way, the cartels have set up a blockade around the city of Puerto Vallarta. They're not letting anybody in or out. So obviously the Mexican government and military doesn't have a good handle on the situation because the cartels have a blockade. Yes, I'm going to say those are all key triggers for me to not take a vacation to Mexico.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
The violence has caused roadblocks, burning vehicles, disruptions. You've got parts of Jalisco and Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara all in a horrible situation, a lot of unrest. One thing I wanted to mention about your potential trip to the Ukraine that you may have had.
That I was offered to go on 10 years ago.
I remember you saying, "Oh, you should totally go to that."
You did at
You
the
were
time.
like,
I was like, no, I think that Russia just took half their country. And I think that people are talking about tensions brewing there, and there might be a problem. I think I might sit this one out. It would have been cool.
It would have been cool-ish, maybe. No.
And I don't know if that State Department program still exists. Maybe they're still offering to send people over to you. I kind of doubt it with things going on there right now. But the same thing in Mexico. Probably not the smartest move to take a vacation to Mexico right now.
Here's this woman. She's in Puerto Vallarta, and she says, common sense says it's not safe. Cancel your vacation.
But your upcoming vacation to Puerto Vallarta is the least of my concerns right now. The amount of DMs I've received about, hey, I'm supposed to fly in tomorrow. Is it safe? Read the room, Susan. We're in the middle of a war zone. Businesses are burnt down. Cars are in flames. Our city's literally still burning as you're typing your DM about your upcoming vacation. I promise you there's bigger losses in the world, in Puerto Vallarta specifically right now, than that $1,200 plane ticket or $2,000 that may have spent for the hotel. We're locked down. We're in a war zone. It's not safe. Nowhere in Jalisco is probably safe right now. Like, read the room, pick up the news. I just can't believe how insensitive some Americans are right now, just focused on their vacations when we're literally burning. We're burning. Our city has been burnt.
She wants people to feel bad for her now at this point. So yeah, canceling might be the best option.
Can't believe how insensitive some Americans are right now. Yeah, based on all those social media videos that we played earlier in the show, I have no trouble believing that.
I can't believe how insensitive some people are bringing fentanyl into our country. How
Right.
about that?
Or trafficking underage children into our country, or trafficking
Taking them
in
from our country.
criminals and murders into our country. Yeah, all of those things are shocking.
Okay, so there is a new declassified CIA file, and it shows that there was a blueprint to manipulate Americans' minds, and this was all done through covert drugging with vaccines. It was called Project Artichoke. And it happened in the early 1950s. And the research shows that it was ways to control and influence human behavior. One of the declassified CIA memos actually says, can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will?
You know what?
Not finding any of that hard to believe. Sounds like CIA stuff to me.
Conspiracy theorists have been unfairly maligned for decades in this country, but now that there's, we get more information that comes out about these things, and you may say to yourself, well, this sounds a lot like MK Ultra, the other project that the CIA had going on at the same time. Yeah, it was very similar. This Project Artichoke was trying to take over people's minds by giving them vaccines. MK Ultra was trying to take over their minds by giving them LSD. Both seem to be running concurrently in the same time back in the 50s.
Yep, they'd used a lot of drugs like LSD and morphine and mescaline and other psychoactive chemicals. And what they were trying to do was create vulnerability, amnesia, and other things. And I came across this from Klaus Schwab. You know who that guy is.
Yeah, the German guy that was in charge of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, the WEP guy. And here is his latest message after we've moved beyond COVID-19. This is the next thing in his mind.
I see a tremendous effort in terms of rallying now behind net zero. Not only governments, but business. We have a number of initiatives at the World Economic Forum. For example, we work sector by sector how to decarbonize those industries. So there is an awareness now it's generally accepted that climate change, if we do not tackle with it, could be the next big, let's say, virus with much more damaging and long-term consequences compared to COVID-19.
Many people still dealing with effects of COVID-19, but that's what you should be on the lookout for, all the climate change conversations.
Right, that's the most important thing, net zero. It's almost like they're not listening to anything Trump and Vance and Rubio have said as they've gone over to Europe this last year and talked about how literally Europe is on a suicide pact right now. They're like deindustrialize their whole country, have massive immigration coming in, and these immigrants aren't assimilating to your culture. And, oh, by the way, we're going to focus on the most important thing in the world.
Well, he's saying
climate change.
Climate change is the next big, and he said the word
virus.
Yeah.
Just like COVID-19.
Yeah. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Only a few more days left to get your tickets for the party that starts the year. Trump 1 year and 1 month later. Go to WIBC.com. 3 different kinds of bourbon for you to try. Incredible food. I've got such a great time planned for you with the live music and the red carpet. Honestly, wear something nice and come join the party. The Hyatt Regency, downtown Indianapolis. Get your tickets right now. Go to WIBC.com and join me Saturday, February 28th. We're going to have a great time. I want to see you there.
Express Pro Tire and Auto is the best in brakes. Brake packages starting at $119.99 per axle. We beat any competitor's pricing. Valid with a written estimate. Go to xpressspro.com to schedule an appointment.
Express Pro Tire and Auto.
Chase away those winter blues with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln. Hurry in for the 8-9-10 deal from Tom Roush. Get $8,000 off new Nautilus or $9,000 off new Corsair. Or how about $10,000 off Lincoln Aviator? Come get a great deal on all 3 from Tom Roush, where our family served yours since 1972.
Corsair stock number L25566, MSRP 55340. Nautilus stock number L26030, MSRP 62705. Aviator stock number L25384, MSRP 79450. See dealer for complete offer details.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window, we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Next time you go out to eat at a restaurant, you might find that your server is using a little psychology on you. Most people want to tip fairly if they've had good service, but they don't always know what is expected. Like, right? You know, do I do 15? Do I do 20?
Yeah.
There's a new thing that a server at Denny's has started doing, a little trick, and this is to increase tips from his customers. Instead of just writing one suggested tip amount on the check, he's listing multiple tipping options like 18, 20, or 22%, and giving his customer the choice. And what this does is typically the customer chooses the bigger option. So now the server is getting the bigger tip.
Yeah, a little psychological manipulation there. And we see this too when when you go to, tap or insert your card when you're paying for something like at Starbucks, it'll give you 3 tip options up there. Do you want to tip $1, $3, or $5? This is just the real life version of doing that as opposed to the on-screen automated version of doing that.
According to the server, a lot of customers, they say they appreciate the guidance and tip more because it feels helpful rather than pushy. Do you find that helpful? I mean, when the math is already done for you.
I do find it helpful when the math is already done for me. But this was the interesting part of this article because it also talked about, again, this is a story about how this customer had a $55 bill and he told the server, just round it up to $70. That's a pretty good tip. That's almost 30%. But here's what the server did, because when the customer got their receipt afterwards, they could see it all on there. What the server did was applied his employee discount to the tip, so that the tip would actually be bigger. Because keep in mind here, you follow me here, it was $55, and the customer said, "Oh, just round it up to $70, and that'll be the tip." So the server went and processed it, applied his employee discount, which took another $14 off of the bill, but he still rounded it up to $70. Which now that I have a bit of a problem with, because for starters, the guy's given a near 30% tip on this, pretty darn good tip on that. But then rather than doing something to show appreciation, to that customer, he went back and applied his employee discount to the customer's food bill so that he could get an additional $14 tip on top of that. At the very least, if you're going to do that, I think you got to split the difference with the customer on that one.
There are some cities that will automatically add the tip at the bottom of the receipt.
So typically,
if you don't notice it and you tip on top of that, you're tipping twice.
Yeah, so typically you see that a lot in resort cities. So if you go on vacation in Florida and you're kind of in a resort or beachy area, because they know a lot of tourists go through there, yes, they will add a automatic gratuity added to that. And if you're not careful and you don't see that,
you can tip on top of
You can tip on top of it too. But we found that in cities that are not typically tourist cities. We go to Baltimore a lot, and one of our favorite restaurants in Baltimore, I discovered, automatically puts a tip on there.
You know why they're doing that?
So that you'll not notice it and then add an additional tip?
They're paying for that football stadium with that money.
That's one option for it. They're also hoping that you won't notice it and that you'll tip even more on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have to talk about this. I know you don't want to, but it has been all over social media. And I figured that when Dana Perino from Fox News addresses it, we can too. And I'm talking about Punch the monkey. Have you heard about the monkey?
I just heard about this in the last 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, you're the expert on Punch the Monkey.
So this was this little monkey. And
where is this? Japan?
It happened in Japan. And this little monkey was abandoned by his mother shortly after birth. And all of the other monkeys were being mean and bullying Punch the monkey. And people were taking videos of this, became a viral hit online. Zookeepers actually ended up giving Punch the monkey this large stuffed orangutan toy to provide comfort and something familiar for Punch the baby monkey to hold on to everywhere he goes, and he carries it around. So there's been videos and pictures of Punch and his toy spread all over social media. Punch has now drawn huge crowds at the zoo, and now toy stores are selling the stuffed orangutan, the fluffy,
the toy that they gave Punch the monkey, yes,
for $350 and up. So Punch, with his toy, have created this gotta have stuffed animal for everybody else, kind of this symbol of love. Don't bully the baby monkey.
This is the saddest story I've ever seen go viral on social media. It's animals bullying each other, and you can't stop watching it. You tried showing it to me, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Show me some funny cat videos. Show me some videos of guys stepping on a rake and getting hit in the junk. That's funny to me. That's the kind of stuff I like on social media, not animals bullying other animals. So sad.
I saw the video from Dana Perino from Fox News, and she's talking to one of her coworkers, and she's like, hey, what's the latest on the news? And he was like, well, which news? Are we talking about Iran, Mexico? What do you mean? And she's like, no, Punch the monkey. And he knew. He was like, oh, I know. Okay, so Punch the monkey has a happy ending, though, because now I believe it's after 8 weeks. I believe Punch is 8 weeks old. The other monkeys in the group there are now being nice to him and loving him.
What a lovely story. I'm glad you got a happy ending to this viral video content that you've been consuming all week long.
Punch is a global star, Jim. Get on board.
No,
it's an emotional moment.
I support Punch. I just don't understand why people want to watch such a sad video. And you showed me a part of it, and I was like, I don't want to watch that. That's like the meanest thing I've ever seen. You know, these other monkeys bullying this baby monkey. That I understand it.
It's a simple emotional moment.
No, I get it. I'm a Punch supporter. I hope that little monkey ends up having a great life and is wonderful. But I don't need to see the sad parts of his life on TikTok or any other social platform. I'm glad you enjoy it, though. You have Punch. You watch Punch.
The saddest thing ever.
It is.
That monkey with his little stuffed animal.
You follow the story, you watch the videos, and then like you just told me, tell me when it's a happy ending. That's all I want.
It's a happy ending.
That's the
Punch
only...
has now found love, so we can all feel better about it, okay?
Wonderful. And no more animals bullying other animals on social media.
You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Party people, what's going on? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel Show. For my friends at We Grow Hair Indie, WeGrowHairIndie.com. Darren Andrews and his amazing team, they told me flat out, we can fix that big bald spot on the back of your dome. So if you're anything like me and you want to look better, contact We Grow Hair Indie, WeGrowHairIndie.com, or call 317-522-2995.
Need to spice up your Tuesday night?
Jackson full speed ahead to the other end, all the way to the goal. That was beyond impressive.
Your Pacers take on the Philadelphia 76ers at 7. Big plays, big moments.
Out to the left edge, strong drive. Huffany dunked it with two hands.
And Indy bringing the heat from tip-off to the final buzzer.
3, and that's Jones giving the Pacers the lead.
Grab your seats fast at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Sixers, Tuesday at 7.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
As student athletes, we want to shine a light on the true team players of every high school sports team, our parents.
Thank you for driving us to practice and cleaning our uniforms.
For selling concessions and hosting team dinners.
For making signs and painting your faces.
For cheering for our team, rain or shine, snow or heat, at home or on the road.
For the time, money, and energy you spent supporting us all season long.
Thank you for always being there for us.
And for everything you do to help us grow through high school sports.
You make it possible for us to play the sports we love, and we will always be grateful.
Mom, Dad, we just want to say
thank you.
I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Thank you to all the family members, friends, and fans who champion our student athletes by buying tickets to your high school's athletic events. This is showing our gratitude. This is supporting education-based athletics. This is your IHSAA.
For a limited time, get 40% off all products. Plus, get an entry door for $187.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Savannah pleading for the safe return of her mom. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Today's show co-host Savannah Guthrie says they're putting up more reward money for information leading to the return of her mother, Nancy, who's been missing since February 1st. This is what she said on social media this morning.
We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward
of up to $1 million.
Investigators say they're waiting to get some DNA evidence results back, and they're sifting through thousands of tips. President Trump will deliver the State of the Union address tonight before a joint session of Congress. It'll be the first time he'll present the annual speech during his second term. Online registrations for tickets for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles have surpassed 5 million. That is a new record. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The troops were half-starved and hunted. Salvation came not from the army, but from the women who kept it alive.
WIBC celebrates the spirit of 76. Brought to you by the WIBC Daily Newsletter.
February 24th, 1781. As Nathaniel Greene's weary army retreated through the Carolinas, British troops pressed close behind. Along back roads and river crossings, women stepped forward, hiding food, ferrying supplies, and passing intelligence. They risked their homes and lives to keep the army moving north. Their courage rarely reached the history books, but their quiet defiance gave Greene the chance to fight again and change the war.
The spirit of 76. History remembered. Freedom celebrated. Have the latest headlines and show content delivered to your inbox daily. Sign up at WIBC.com.
It was super cool. It was an honor. You know, it really is apparent for the President of the United States. Hearing that, he was supporting us and all the other athletes and wanting us all to bring home as many gold medals as we can. So we're definitely honored to represent him and the millions, hundreds of millions across the country and bringing a gold medal back.
So that was U.S. hockey player Matt Tkachuk on Donald Trump calling to give him his support. He said it was super cool and it was an honor hearing from the President of the United States. If that was Joe Biden, he would probably congratulate him for beating the Russians at Lake Placid and then offer ice cream.
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy. Some people were put off by the fact that Kash Patel was in the locker room with them there afterwards. Of course, Kash Patel came out and said he was invited into the locker room by the team, but that is not unheard of. I saw a clip yesterday of the Miracle on Ice team from 1980, and at the time, Walter Mondale was vice president, and he was in the locker room with the team afterwards. Okay. So it is not uncommon for this situation. Yeah, there's some precedent here. So if you got your, all your panties in a wad because Kash Patel was in the locker room with the U.S. hockey team yesterday, there is precedent for this happening before, just like in 1980 in Lake Placid.
Isn't that what you want to see from your athletes, though, being proud of their country?
Oh, that was the best. I mean, the post-game interviews with those guys, especially the one with the guy that scored the game-winning goal. I mean, the game had just ended 5 minutes before. He gets off the ice. There's a microphone in his face, and all he says is, "Man, I love my country, and I'm proud to be an American. I love my teammates, and we did this for the USA." It was awesome. Loved it.
So you've got the U.S. men's hockey team that were invited to the State of the Union address, which will happen tonight. And some news just came out. The Democrats are changing their plan. Rather than skipping the event altogether, they're going to be normal?
Well, let's not go that far. But yes, there is some breaking news. So for context on this, if you remember Donald Trump's address to Congress last year, the Democrats brought a bunch of homemade signs and held them up. And the Democrats, rightly so, got destroyed in the media and on social media for looking like a bunch of idiots on that. So despite the fact that some Democrats are boycotting tonight, the Democrats that are going have come out and said that there will be no signs tonight. Okay. And in fact, Pete Aguilar, who is the House Democrat caucus chair, said, "I'm not a big fan of signs." Greg Caesar, Democrat House member from Texas, said, "I think a lot of us agree that a lot of things we did last year didn't break through." Well, that's being kind. Yeah, didn't break through. No, it made you look like a bunch of idiots. It made you look like a bunch of unserious virtue signaling, and you got roasted everywhere for your actions last year. So at least they've got a couple of brain cells to rub together and aren't going to repeat that disaster of 2025.
Is that a little bit of self-awareness, perhaps?
Shocking from the Democrat Party, or shocking from any politician, to be fair. But yeah, those signs last year were such a disaster, and they're smart enough to not repeat that
Not going to do it this year. So you've got old political ties that can come back with a bang, and especially if your old political ties name is Jeffrey Epstein. So you've got Peter Mandelson, who is a former senior Labor Party minister and ex-ambassador to the United States. He was arrested yesterday. He is being held on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and he was later released on bail pending further investigation.
Yeah, now this is the former ambassador from the UK to the United States. He was arrested. Of course, we had the big story earlier this week where Prince Andrew was arrested, and there's this narrative out there in the media that, hey, look at the United Kingdom. They're holding, their leaders that were part of the Epstein files accountable. Why can't we do this here in the United States? Well, here's the truth about that. And those two, both Mandelson and Prince Andrew, weren't arrested for anything associated with sex crimes or underage girls. That had nothing to do with their arrests. What was found in the Epstein documents is that both of them shared classified British intelligence with Jeffrey Epstein. That's why they're being arrested.
Not supposed to do that?
You're not supposed to do that. So I guarantee you that if it turned out that in the Epstein files, if American leaders, either politicians or business leaders, were sharing classified information with Jeffrey Epstein, I'm sure they'd be arrested for that as well. And again, the problem with the Epstein files up until this point is all of that information, for the most part, is circumstantial. And if you talk to any legal expert, the vast majority of it is hearsay and wouldn't stand up in a court of law. So kind of be careful when you hear these narratives without drilling down and finding out the real information and the facts.
Yeah, you just can't pass the sensitive government information, especially not to somebody like Jeffrey Epstein. So you've got the former advisor to Margaret Thatcher. His name is Niall Gardner, and he said this could take down Keir Starmer.
I think hugely significant news from London. Lord Mandelson, of course, was Keir Starmer's ambassador to Washington, and he was put in place by Keir Starmer, I think in large part to sell what is known in the UK as the Chagos surrender deal, to try and sell that deal to the United States. Fortunately, President Trump intervened last week to condemn the Chagos deal. But Lord Mandelson really, I think his arrest today in London, this is big enough ultimately to bring down the British Prime Minister. I mean, this is a massive scandal. Keir Starmer personally, of course, intervened to have Mandelson as the British ambassador to Washington. Starmer has faced intense questioning, of course, in House of Commons and Parliament. In recent weeks, there are growing calls for him to resign over this scandal. The charges against Lord Mandelson are extremely serious, basically passing on confidential British government documents to Jeffrey Epstein when Mandelson was business secretary. And so this is very high stakes. I expect that we're going to see the downfall of the British Prime Minister as a result of this in the coming weeks, even potentially in the next few days.
That is guilt by association. I mean, the guy put him in that position, and then he turned and did horrible things in office, and now he's being held accountable. Accountability matters at all levels. It doesn't matter how senior somebody is in politics. If there's evidence that they misused public office or shared that confidential information, law enforcement is going to investigate and hold them to account.
Yeah, and Keir Starmer's, I'll make a prediction right now. We need like a whiteboard in this studio where I can write predictions on there, see if they come true. Keir Starmer's not going to make it out of 2026 as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. You've had Prince Andrew arrested. You've got the former ambassador from the UK to the U.S. that's now been arrested this morning, a person that Keir Starmer knew had these ties with Jeffrey Epstein and
put him in that position
made him
anyway.
ambassador to the U.S. Anyway. Keir Starmer's chief of staff has resigned. Keir Starmer's head of communications has resigned. I think that this scandal for the Brits just keeps growing and growing, and I don't see any way that Keir Starmer makes it out of 2026 as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
So there has been a $1 million reward that has been upped in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie announced on Instagram this morning that her family is offering up to $1 million for any information that leads to the recovery of her 84-year-old mother. My question is, why didn't they start with that amount? I mean, clearly Savannah Guthrie and her husband have the money. It seems like, I don't know, to me, like you should have started there.
Yeah, and I remember. Do you remember what the initial?
Or at least half of that.
Do you remember what the initial reward amount was when this
was it?
this
100 or 50?
$50,000, and I remember seeing that at the time and going, "Wow,
that's kind of low.
That seems a little low." And then they upped it to $100,000, and
then 200. Yeah,
just happened this morning that Savannah Guthrie posted a new video and is personally offering a reward of up to $1 million. I'm gonna take a guess here and say that they are following the FBI's guidelines on this, on what to do. My guess is that is a negotiation strategy that the FBI, who has a ton of experience in this area, and they're probably directing them on reward dollar amounts.
I'm curious.
But it does seem odd. This whole
should
process
have started a little higher.
It just seems. It seems like it seemed odd from the very beginning.
It's like they're trying to shine a light not only on the case, but also on the pain that family is feeling right now.
Yeah, that's part of it. But what you're really looking for, here's where you're really looking for from a reward. Because if I committed the crime, if I was the one that went in there and kidnapped Nancy Guthrie, I'm not going to get the reward money. But what you're looking for is somebody close to the perpetrator who has ties and has knowledge of the perpetrator.
Make it worth it.
You're trying to get them to flip on that perpetrator.
Talk.
And so are you going to flip on somebody who, by the way, is pretty dangerous, ain't afraid to kidnap other people? Are you going to flip on them for $50,000 or even $100,000?
But now you're talking $1 million.
Okay, now you're talking $1 million. That's life-changing money, or getting toward the area of life-changing money. Okay, now we're at a point where I can see a close confidant of the person that perpetrated this getting to the point where they say, okay, now I'm going to flip on that person because now I can change my life with $1 million reward.
There was a new study. This guy, he's a neuroscientist, Dr. Horvath. He testified to the U.S. Senate committee that Gen Z, people born between 1997 and 2010, aren't as smart as previous generations. He called Gen Z the first generation in modern history to show the kind of decline compared to their parents' generation. They have scored lower on standardized tests than previous generations. And I'm going to say that's because of technology.
And that's where I'm sure
you've got the answer at your fingertips. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to know that information. It's all right there. You can look it up.
And look, I'm sure that's where everybody's mind goes. Well, all these kids got their phones in their pockets and they're spending too much time on that and messing around with it. I'll give you a counterpoint to that, which is going to actually be the real source of the vast majority of this data and this information. It's the COVID lockdowns. And we know for a fact that when our kids didn't go to school for a year, and sometimes in certain states, 1.5 to 2 years, and they were forced into remote learning, there's been very clear data on that specifically, on how it has led to reduced math scores, reduced reading scores. We had a whole generation of kids in Gen Z that we just absolutely crushed their entire educational process by forcing those schools to close down, and we've got nobody to blame but our culture and the people that were running our country at the time, and that is going to be one of the most lasting, damaging effects of COVID. What we did to our school-age children by locking down those schools for 2 years, awful.
It's 93 WIBC.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Comprehensive cancer care is not just about treating cancer. It's caring for the person behind the diagnosis. It's our team by your side to listen, connect, and encourage, and to celebrate every milestone together. Because at Franciscan Health, your journey is our journey. Your victory is our victory. Your hope and trust in us to provide extraordinary cancer care with the latest advancements, plus a little extra TLC, is our mission. Learn more at franciscanhealth.org/cancercare.
Pat Sullivan here. Fire emergency? I've had one. If you do, call Michaelis. Owner Richard Michaelis explains why.
Michaelis is local and family owned. 39 years of experience with 24/7, 365 response. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified, restoring your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
And Michaelis helps you through the insurance process, giving you peace of mind. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still. You're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Discover a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026.
Great Lakes Honda of Fishers is heating things up with red hot deals during Pay What We Pay invoice pricing going on now. Come into Great Lakes Honda and get invoice pricing without the gimmicks, like a new Honda Odyssey EXL for under $42,000 with a finance special of 3.99% APR for 48 months or 4.99% APR for 60 months. So come in out of the cold for red hot prices at Great Lakes Honda of Fishers. Tax not included. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. All fees and first payment due at signing. Offer ends March 31st. See dealer for details.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Airplay Live is coming your way May 15th, featuring Julie Haggerty and Robert Hayes. Relive the comedy classic like never before with stories, laughs, and unforgettable moments. Don't miss Airplane Live. More ticket information now at WIBC.com.
So skipping sleep for work or stress could be hurting more than your energy. Oh, it could be hurting your heart. There was a new study that came out, and it says that working age adults who are getting less sleep than they should are at serious risk for AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is a heart rhythm disorder that can raise your risk of stroke and other problems. You need to be getting more than 6 hours of sleep per night.
Sounds like I can get a doctor's note for something like this. Hey, doc, can I get a work note that says I can't come in until 10 o'clock in the morning because I got to get enough sleep so I don't get this heart disorder?
It's, we often brag about surviving on little sleep. Oh, man, yeah, I only got 2 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep last night. But that's actually not good for you, and it's quietly contributing to some serious health problems.
Well, we know through many stories, this isn't the first one, that we are certainly a sleep-deprived country. In fact, we had that story last week about people taking sleepcations, where you go away to a hotel where your whole purpose of the trip is to get some sleep, and they have things like pillow menus where you can order whichever type of pillow you want off a menu of options. I think this is finally some hard and firm data that talks about how dangerous it is to not get enough sleep every night.
So research showed that shorter sleep durations, especially 6 hours or less per night, were associated with this AFib compared to people who got more sleep. And of course, that suggests that chronic sleep loss is tied to poor health. But it's not just it's your busy schedules, your stress. You lay there at night with the wheels spinning and you're thinking that it's affecting your mental health. Guess what? It's also affecting your physical health.
All right, new thing right now.
Yeah.
We're starting this week. 8 hours of sleep every night. Do you think we can pull that off?
No.
How hard can it be? Come on. We can pull that off.
Chance.
Look, if you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, that just means you got to get to bed by 10 o'clock at night. Well, we can't start tonight for that because we know Donald Trump is going to have a long State of the Union speech tonight that I'm predicting will run close to midnight before it's all over.
You put a plan in place, and already it's right out the window.
And you know who I can blame for it? Donald Trump. Oh, boy.
Blaming the government for all of your problems. There you go.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So this happened yesterday, and it happened after we got off the air. So we wanted to make sure that we mentioned this. You had Officer Brian Elliott's funeral service that was held yesterday at Beech Grove High School. Hundreds of friends and family and law enforcement and community members were in attendance to honor his life and service. The service celebrated his dedication, humor, community commitment, and the fact that he served in the city where he grew up and he graduated. So as we close out today, I thought it might be appropriate to play the 1042 call, which happened outside of the police department. That is the radio call signaling an officer's end of service. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, Officer Brian Elliott.
Beech Grove 59. Beech Grove 59. Beech Grove 59, Officer Brian Elliott. On February 16th, 2026, Officer Brian Elliott of the Beech Grove Police Department answered his final call. While investigating a disturbance, Officer Elliott was fatally shot. There is no greater love than a man that would lay down their life for another. Beech Grove Police Department, Officer Brian Elliott, Beech Grove 59, is 1042. He has gone home for the final time.
Custom jewelry is not out of reach with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. At PA Jewelers, you can customize any piece of jewelry for that special someone. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg. Gold, diamonds, gemstones, and of course those watches from Flederman Von Riest, assembled right here in Indiana. Custom designed jewelry with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Custom jewelry made just for you. PA Jewelers, 3750